and here we go.
There's the deluge. Here's ignition.
Roger roll, Atlantic. Doubling up.
Did you just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalize.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, we're back again. It's Booster 20 testing on Pad 2 time. Potentially a static fire test. Now, we all like to think static fire test, and there's absolutely no reason why it will be a static fire test, but there's two caveats here. One, they may want to just do some testing, and two, they may want to do a static fire test, but they haven't abort or something like that, and people go, oh, I wanted a static fire test, and it wasn't one. So those are caveats involved there. Joining me to talk about this is Ryan Weber. Hello, Ryan.
Hey everyone, I'm back again as well. How's it going, everyone? Yeah, it's some kind of booster testing today. We don't know if they're going to static fire or if they're going to do a tanking test plus a maybe an igniter test along with it. We kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go straight to a static fire. They have made a decent amount of changes to this tank farm, and they might want to test that before they go all the way. But also, it's SpaceX, and they could just go all the way. So we'll have to see what happens at the T0 point, which, based off when the methane reclaim vent started and what we look like at the tank farm right now, is going to be around 9 a.m., 9:05 a.m., because the methane reclaim vent started, when did it start again? It started around 7:06 a.m., so you're looking at about 2 hours after. So, yeah. We'll see what happens at around like 9:05 or something.
Stop answering the questions I got for you, because before we get the panel in, I ask everybody, if you got a question, do it on NASASpaceflight, followed by your question. I'll be able to answer it. And during that period of time where people start asking questions, I'd ask questions to Ryan like, when did the methane reclaim start? He's done it already, damn it. Anyway, not to worry. Jay Keegan is producing. Always thank the producer. It's like always tip your waiter, always thank your producer. That's a very important thing. And the first thing I see in the panel is actually a super chat, would you believe? And it's from Sonia Chris, who says, can a static fire in the rain? Yeah, probably. Let's display that, because Ryan, you were literally mentioning there's like weather system coming in.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. There are some storm cells that are going to go right over Starbase here shortly, probably within the next half hour to hour. So as of right now, prop load is looking like at least an hour from now, give or take. I doubt they would prop load when the storms are over. They would probably wait till those are gone before they do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if all that passed by the time they get to that point. Heck, it might be raining when they static fire. I don't know if that's okay in their eyes. I don't see why that would really be an issue. It's just water. It's not like it's that big of a deal. So we'll have to see what happens. And yeah, we'll just have to watch the weather and wait. But there are definitely some storms coming up from the south. So, yeah.
I can tell you a shuttle story straight away, right off the bat, literally minutes into the stream.
There we
right,
go.
because I'm very shuttle head right now, because it's the 50th anniversary of STS-135. Now it launched, it's now on flight day 3 of the anniversary, basically, and this was the final RPM rendezvous pitch maneuver under the ISS. But I always bring the shuttle story up of that when they did static fire tests of the RS-25s at Stennis, it would create a rain cloud because it's a Hydrolox engine, and there's a very famous, very mistitled video from Jeremy Clarkson during a Top Gear show they call it SRB, solid rocket booster testing. It's not, it's an SSME, but he was at Stennis for a test. He rare access because Stennis is very hard to get access to, but obviously they probably saw the benefits of the way that they would get a large audience on Top Gear. And he was there at an RS-25 test. He stands out after the test. He goes, that's created a rain cloud, and it started raining. It was blue skies, but the actual exhaust from the RS-25 test created a rain cloud, and he got rained on. It's amazing. So can they static fire in the rain? I always go back to the SSMEs because they were literally just like creating water vapor from their exhaust. There we go. There's your short story. One question we had, to the point that one person sent it to our panel 50 times yesterday, much to my annoyance, because I was trying to find questions and all I was seeing was this. Well, and this one is from Not Anonymous, which was not the person who was spamming it yesterday. Is the booster FTS? So does the booster have FTS?
I don't know. I was saying yesterday, during the last RGV flyover, I did not see the explosive placard revealed on Mega Bay 1, which they do that to indicate that, basically that there's explosives installed in a vehicle and be safe. And I wonder if that's the rain that's coming right there on that camera. But basically, we don't know if FTS is installed. If it is installed, then there's a lot more likely chance that the booster stays out. Some of that harnesses, they might be able to just disconnect and plug it. They could just roll it back. We don't really know what's going to happen until it does happen. I know I was saying yesterday that I think it'll roll back, but we'll see what happens at this rate. We'll see. It might not. Without confirmation from SpaceX, we don't really know.
Charlie, I think it's worth pointing this out because some people may not get the reference, some people may not have been around during that time, and some people may be new, etc., etc. But the static fire in the rain comment was about Ship 36 during testing. We were covering it live at Masses ahead of its static fire test, and it basically started raining. And the question in chat was, can they static fire in the rain because it started raining? And that's the point in which it blew up. So Jack's famous comment actually made it on the likes of, I think it was John Oliver even. It was on some really sort of like big shows where it of then Sawyer saying about those launch dates at the end of it. Now I bring that up and people in chat, there'll be a few people in chat going, Chris, stop mentioning things like Ship 36, you're jinxing Booster 20. There's no such thing as a live stream comment jinxing a launch vehicle at Starbase. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. So we can bring it up and reference it. That's all
Booster
it is.
Transport stand is moving again, by the way.
Right. We see that they do that, and that is always a good indication of getting ready for the testing. But couldn't they just leave it in the area?
It could. They take it away for static fires. They have been. I guess they don't want it to get damaged, but then again, it's like, well, I know they used to leave it at the launch site all the time, so like put it over in the Hoppy lot. I would be fine over next to Hoppy. I don't know why they take it and put it on Highway 4. It's kind of like an extra roadblock, but I don't know why that would be necessary. But also, if you look at this image there, Chris, you see the dark clouds in the background. Those are that's the storms I was talking about. Yeah, they're on their way headed straight for the booster and the launch site. I would say to the workers moving that transport stand, either keep it there for now or move it and go, because you're about to get rained on. But
the world's upside down, Ryan. It's blue skies and non-stop blue skies, and it's still got 4 more days of blue skies in Yorkshire. And in Starbase South Texas, they've got what we normally have in the sky, which is grey clouds. What is going on with the world? Everything's upside down. Everything's gone wrong. You'll always find an English person, especially a Yorkshire person, complain when it goes above 30 degrees, and it is above that's 30 degrees Celsius, by the way. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yes,
I mean, cool.
Well, I've got a question related to this from Mr. Green, actually. Can the flame trench fill with water after heavy rain? So if it's a downpour...
but they have sump pumps in there. And whatnot, so that's not really that big of an issue. And even if it partially fills with water after heavy rain, it's not like that's nearly as much water as what happens when you go activate the flame trench for a static fire. So it doesn't really do much. They can use the sump pumps if they have capacity inside the tanks to just drain it, or they just leave it in there and it'll get vaporized or chucked out with the static fire or whatever. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it can definitely fill up a little bit.
Yep. Schrodinger's, I can't pronounce it, chat, which is maybe cat. I believe the FTS is both installed and not installed on the booster. I think that's a clever super chat. I appreciate
it is, but it isn't. Yes.
Yeah. It's a very clever because of the username. I like that. That's very good. And Jwa, early, 7:35 a.m. Central Time. I don't know what time zone Jwa's on, but it's early, regardless, with 20 gifted red team memberships. That's big. That's really appreciated and surprising as well, because we always think that the prime time on a live stream, based on what is largely, it's not the majority, but it is the majority, it's largely an American audience, is around 4 or 5 hours time. Not now. So it's always surprising when we get quite a lot of people in and support as well for what basically an early stream for a lot of the audience we have. There we go. I was trying to explain it. I kind of mumbled my words a little bit. I'm the one who's in the afternoon
Holy
and
moly.
I'm mumbling.
Man, look at this.
Oh my goodness. So this is going to be a downpour.
Yeah, it likely will be.
I'm worried about our cameras. Are they going to get kind of like fuzzy views because of this?
You see the wind coming too.
Well, it might just avoid. What's the weather radar looking like, Ryan? Is it going to literally pass overhead?
It'll literally go right over the launch site, yes.
Ooh.
Right over all of Starbase, so the production site plus the launch site. It's going to downpour Starbase as a whole and the Rio Grande Valley there, so yeah.
Well, that's a flex. Just continue on as if nothing's happening. Pretend it's a Soyuz. Soyuz doesn't care about the weather. So why did the Starship? Remember, this is actually a very valid point. If we're talking about the launch cadence that Elon and SpaceX have portrayed in the future, especially the turnaround of the same vehicles, for example, they're looking to launch this vehicle at a flight rate that'll make Falcon 9 look like it's a slow cadence. They're not going to really achieve that if there are a large set of weather events that don't allow it to launch. What kind of commitment, what kind of launch commit criteria do you think the weather would say you can't launch during this? Are we talking about winds? Are we talking about rain? Are we talking about cloud? What do you think, Ryan?
One, we're talking about wind. High winds, even at initial liftoff, even for a vehicle the size of Starship, isn't ideal. Going through cumulus clouds is not great, especially if they're statically charged. You don't want to fly through those. Now, we're not really seeing any lightning right now, but you still run the danger of building up static electricity along your vehicle and having problems on that front. Plus, lightning can end up, if a storm keeps forming as you fly through it, it can start to do lightning, and then at that point you strike your vehicle, and then you run into an Apollo 12 situation. You got to do SSC to aux, but I don't really know what the situation is that for Starship. I know they used to have static wicks on the flaps. They did that for Block 2, but I have not seen them on Block 3 at all, so I don't know. I think they were trialing something out. There are of course other reasons, but those are the main ones. If you're an airplane, you don't want to fly through this because possible lightning strikes, possible wind and turbulence. There's no reason to fly through that. Why? If you can go around it, or if you can go over it or around it, you might as well try. You don't want to try to go through it. And I mean, when you look at Starship in the future, you're going to wonder, like, well, what can it fly through weather-wise? Because weather happens, and if you want a high launch rate and cadence, you're going to have to fly through weather. Well, in this kind of case, I mean, this storm, with how fast it's moving, which I'd have to look at the cell speed on it, which is probably, here I can actually pull it up real quick. This cell is moving at like 14 knots, 12 knots, so it's not moving that fast. But it'll still be out of here within like an hour. So you just delay your launch an hour or two, and then you go. is basically what you do. You can hold the tank
Yeah.
farm in like you just hold it and chill down, and then once it's passed, you prop load and go. So that's probably what they'll do in future, as to not fly through this. I don't think Starship will ever fly through something like this. You just don't want to. It's risky. There's just no reason to roll those dice.
No, that makes perfect sense. I never thought about that. Just basically hold it an hour. You don't have to scrub for the day, do you? It's not like...
No.
Well, they'll have launch windows for certain missions, understandably, but again, the capability of this rocket, they'll have factored this in. It's not like they're listening to this live stream going, you know what about this launch cadence that Elon was talking about? I was listening to the NSF stream and I completely forgot about the weather. No, they'll know about it. They'll have factored everything in. And it is cool, and that's not unknown that they've got several launch sites in the planning. I do really, I'm going to come back to it. I really do hope they include what will be a foggy but still spectacular LC6 from California. We are still waiting to see what the plans are for that, but I would love a Starship pad there. Iconic. Never mind the fact we're definitely getting 39A, and we're getting 37B and A, and we're also getting the 2 here at Starbase. So lots of options across the states. I wonder, Ryan, I've got loads of questions, and I'll come to them. It's going to be a long stream, so we'll get through them all. Don't worry about that. But do you think, both from a ITAR proprietary technology international thing, but also from a capability requirement, do you think we're going to start seeing some plans for Starship being launched overseas, maybe in, I don't know, anywhere around the world, Australia, a place like that?
I could see it eventually happening. It's going to be interesting to see where they decide to build launch sites over time. There's definitely a lot of different locations that they can try to do it at. Off the coast of certain, countries, and whatnot. I could see west coast of Australia. You could do polar launches out of their SSOs, depending on where you do it. There's definitely other locations where you give certain access to certain like inclinations and whatnot. We'll see what Starship looks like in 10, 20 years. That's definitely going to be a fun one. We'll see. But they got a lot of work ahead of them. Just building the Cape launch sites and the other one that they have here is a lot already. That's 5 pads plus the infrastructure to help support it, like the gigabays, star factories, all that other stuff. That's already a lot. Now imagine trying to build gigabays in Australia, because once you have boosters there, your boosters are going to be there. That's going to be your fleet of boosters at that launch site. So you're going to need gigabays to be able to service them. Same thing to service ships and everything. So what's that going to look like in 20 years? I don't know. It'll be cool. But yeah,
I like it. I like it when you go into your in-depth answers, because I start visualizing things that you're talking about, like a gigabay in Australia. I mean, we're going to the bonkies levels now, because we're just very excited already about what we're seeing at both Starbase and Florida. But imagine more of them, more gigabays. Wow. And by the way, if you're wondering what the weather's like, you can see it, but also you'll see this camera rocking around a little bit. That's rare. I've never actually seen that before. So I can confirm it's windy. It's definitely windy out there. But let me thank a few more people and go back to questions, because this is going to obviously be a case of weather watch for a while. But luckily, we do have lots of questions. There is the boost transport stand, by the way, on the left-hand side. And now we're going back to, oh my word, that's not good weather at all. That really isn't. Anyway, let me thank some people. Chris W., one of our mods. Yay! Has gifted 5 Red Team memberships. And by the way, speaking of mods, thanks to Sheriff Tracy for reminding me. I had a pinned comment saying this stream might be delayed to Friday. Well, guess what? It's Friday. The stream is no longer delayed because we're on it right now. So thank you to Sheriff Tracy for pointing that out. And I've just unpinned it, so that's no longer there, confusing people. Bodger 1058, Rad Pat. It's always catching me out. I keep wanting to say Pad Rat, but it's Rad Pat. Has gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Jwa has done a $100 tip. What the heck? Oh, by the way, look at this, reversing Cybertrucks.
Let's say they're backing up, which is weird.
Yeah, well, is there any particular reason for the need
I don't know why,
that?
but they are.
No. Well, either ways, they're probably desperately hoping that a Bandicam clip it and go, "Ooh, look, Cybertrucks," and then Elon will go like. But either ways, Oh, God, look at the weather.
Yeah.
I've never really seen it this bad before. I know we've had some hurricanes and stuff go over Starbase, but just during
Never
a test
direct
campaign
hits,
day.
though. Those guys are fun, just walking alongside the booster transport stand as it pouring down on them. It's fun. There's no lightning in this. At least I'm not seeing any indications of lightning in this storm. And, you know, as I said that, the radar has picked up one lightning strike to the south, so, okay.
I do love how a big metal thing it is. When it goes past our camera, it interferes with the signal because that's a massive signal blocker that's just rolling past the camera. It's only for a second or so, but it is kind of fun. Well, that's something I'll go back and clip and show people on X that, look at the rain. But I was just saying, JWA has done a $100 tip. I'm not going to just skip over that because that's huge. With the comment, and I know what movie this is from, The Truman Show, in case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Great movie. Quite dark. People think it's a comedy. It's actually quite a dark movie. Jeff Row Your Boat has gifted a Red Team membership, as has Anonymous. That's the username. 5 Red Team memberships. Wow. So much support. And there's not a lot going on apart from everyone getting wet at Starbase. So that is really appreciated. I mean, I do actually, you know, note it a lot more when it's this kind of stream or this, you know, there's nothing particularly about to happen. It's not T-minus 10 minutes of a Starship stream where you expect people maybe more sort of like inclined to get their name in front of a lot of people. And it just shows something about the way our community will always support us regardless. So I make a big deal out of that because it really is appreciated. Killian asks, can Star Factory, like it is right now, support the demand of Starship and booster sections required for Gigabay to work efficiently to increase the cadence? So, the Star Factory as it is right now, while they're building these big Gigabays and what have you, is that enough for what they need on the ship side to deal with what will be increasing cadence from the Gigabay, such as boosters and what have you?
The current Star Factory should be enough. The Gigabay at Starbase and another Gigabay too if they need to. They built it for that reason, so it should be enough for those. To also include the Gigabays at KSC, I wouldn't be sure about that. I don't think it's enough, but definitely we'll wait and see when they build a Star Factory at the Cape, which I don't know why they haven't started yet. But we'll have to wait and see when that happens.
Yeah, bear with me. I'm just bandicamming that clip of the Cybertrucks reversing. There we go. Multitasking is something I've never been good at, and I'm certainly not good at anymore. Kiwi Nibbles has gifted 5 Red Team memberships. What's going on? I would expect to, like, you know, just be asking Ryan questions on the stream at this time of day. And there's all these super chats. These bonkers. Can they study fire and rain? Yeah, Jan, you've just joined. We covered that already. Because it looks like they may have to. Oh, well, they don't have to. They've got a window that lasts till, what, 7 p.m. local time, Ryan?
They got until 7 p.m. The tank farm was in full chill down. Unfortunately, we cannot see the tank farm at this time to see where it's at. Although prop load really wouldn't happen until like 8:30. So let's hope the storm is gone by then so they can prop load, static fire, detank, and be done with it. Because they'll have some time, but there is another cell to the south. So they'll have some time to tank it, static fire it, and detank it before that cell gets there. I don't know if they'll be fully detanked, but they'll definitely have time to tank it and static fire it before that cell gets in. So, unless they just like, let's just tank it and static fire it in the rain, which I hope not. I want to see it. I want to see the static fire. So, let's hope they wait for an opening. So.
There we go. I've got my tweet out. Starship Flight 13. Well, it's pouring down ahead of testing with reversing Cybertrucks, the booster transport stand, and the clouds rolling in. I think it's interesting. I mean, that's the sort of thing, even though it's like not prevalent to imminent testing, it's still interesting. It is quite dynamic, I must admit. George wants to know, how many years do you think it will take SpaceX to get to, say, 1 launch a day? Oh, that was something we were talking about earlier, but we can take this as a set question. Considering the rapid auto inspections and repair systems they would need, that's where it gets really interesting on the question. So we all know what SpaceX wants to do. We all know the ambitions, and they're very high, but that's very SpaceXy. What are the bottlenecks in the event, Ryan, that this vehicle is flying without issue, landing, caught, both the ship and the booster, no issue at all, everything's going very well, but they still need to inspect these vehicles once they return, don't they? We know they do with the Falcon 9s. We actually see the lines in the SUT where they do the inspection of the world lines. What kind of required checks do you think these vehicles require in the event they're launching every day to refly them?
Well, in terms of booster, it's going to be... they'll start off by inspecting most of the booster again and again and again. Eventually, they will understand the vehicle enough that you can get down your daily inspections to where you just kind of do a quick look at the booster, quick look at the engines, make sure everything's good, maybe do some little ops checks here and there when it's back on the pad, and then launch it again. And those could take only a few hours or so, or whatever, or less, depending on how they do it, if they use people or if they use robots or whatever their plan is on that front. We'll have to wait and see what the final part of that is. I mean, they want to do it like airline operations, and at that point, it's land the booster, do some checks on it for do checks on it for like 10 minutes, load it up, launch it again, which would be, that's about what it is. And then in terms of ship, that's a whole other ball game. It depends on how quickly they can get to their rapidly reusable heat shield, because 39's heat shield looked like it could fly again, but that was based off of like longer range video and stuff like that. It looked like that could fly again and re-enter again without issues. It kind of did, but we don't know how many more could do that with that current heat shield design. We have seen them, they are adding more ablative to the nose cone on the leeward side, because I think there was some discoloration on 39 they didn't like. We don't know if 40 is going to get that. It might. That's a whole other thing on like how much of that heat shield do you need to inspect every time? Or do they get to a point where, we don't have to look at the heat shield at all. We just kind of have to do a quick scan and then launch it again on like tanker versions and whatnot. Because Starlink versions and other things, they got to load the payload. So while you're loading the payload, you might as well inspect the vehicle while you're at it, kind of thing. In terms of how long it'll take to get to one launch a day, I mean, it's still going to be several years. They'll have the pads to do it. Each pad will probably do a launch a day. When it comes to like maybe one pad does a launch, then another pad does another launch another day, and it's kind of like takes up 5 days out of the week. Because the other problem with that isn't just vehicle inspections, it's also propellant. Like, to get the amount of propellant to do a single launch at Starbase, once the ASU is running and once they have methane liquefaction is running, they'll be able to do 2 launches a week, maybe. And that's with probably tankers coming in from other places to help supplement that as well. If they do a ton of tankers and plus the ASU, then maybe they could do several launches in a week. But if they want to truly reduce the amount of tankers they have, then I would say only 2 to 3 launches a week out of Starbase at most. And then, of course, they need the ASU at 37, and then eventually 39 whenever that becomes a thing. But right now, we just don't know on that front. So there's a lot of variables to get to that point, and I think it's still going to be several years until they hit that. I doubt this decade, probably in the 2030s.
I remember someone replying to one of Elon's slides where he was talking about thousands and thousands of launches. Yeah. And the reply was, so you want to use all the methane supply in the world times 3 or something? It's like, yeah. But again, I always have this caveat. These are clever people at SpaceX. They will not be throwing out plans that they have no plan for. They'll be I mean, they know they can't do it right now. I mean, that's obvious, but they'll be working a route to increase the capabilities to provide the allowances for these ambitions. That's what I would say. That might sound fluffy. That might sound like a SpaceX fanboy, but that would apply to any company in the rocket industry and other industries as well. When you scale up, you have to have a plan for it. It doesn't mean they're going to put it out in press releases or in PDFs to the public. They'll have internal plans that we don't know about. So it's natural for the public to go, but how can you do this? They'll have thought about it. That's why I always say, that's just my experience. It's nothing to do with SpaceX fanboyish. I am a fan of SpaceX. You should sue me. Yeah, I'm a fan of SpaceX. I'm a fan of rockets. And they launch a lot of rockets. Guess what? I'm a fan. Anyway, oh, here we go. I've got 2 questions about the launch date, which is pretty fun while we're watching a completely clouded out launch site. Sayed wants to know, do you think launch in January is likely? And then Westham says, we're taking a cruise from Galveston.
In July?
Hang on.
You said January.
What did I say?
You said January, not July.
Did I?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good sign. Oh, my brain's still not fixed. Oh, dear. Right, so luckily, we put it on screen, so when I go numpty mode, at least people know what I'm talking about. Sadie wants to know, do you think a launch in July is likely? And then Weston, with the super chat, by the way, thank you. We are taking a cruise from Galveston next week. Small chance Starship would we be able to see it at all? Well, we do think July. It's net July the 15th. That probably is the absolute maximum, soonest they could do it. But they're looking at dates from mid-January. I'm doing it again, mid-July. Where why have I got I was doing schedules the other day and I kept on putting May in the schedule for no reason whatsoever. That's weird. Anyway, July. There is a chance. There's absolutely a chance. Now, the other thing is Galveston, a cruise from Galveston. Now, that's Texas, isn't it, Ryan? I don't know our bearings, but if it launched from Starbase and they're leaving Galveston and heading into the Gulf, would they be able to see the launch? I would have thought so.
Yeah, depending on where your cruise is going, you should be able to see it. Galveston. It actually also depends on what kind of time of day they decide to launch too, and the cloud cover over the Gulf, because it's still pretty far north. It's almost near the Louisiana-Texas border. It's a maybe. That's a maybe. I don't know how far south you're going with that cruise. So it's a maybe that you'll see it. We'll go with that. And right now, SpaceX is targeting the 15th through the 21st as their window for this launch. Will they make that? Assuming they get a static fire out today, or maybe a test today and the static fire tomorrow, or they wait to static fire till Monday because they don't want to use any more weekend closures. We'll have to wait and see. That's going to be a question mark on that one. They might be able to go within the next week and a half. I don't know where Ship 40 is in terms of readiness, and once 20 is done with its 33 engine static fire, I don't know where it's going to be at in terms of flight readiness. It looks pretty flight ready. There are some harnesses that'll have to be taken off. We don't know if FTS is installed, so there's a couple of question marks on that front.
Jay's getting excited, but in the background as a producer, getting excited we can actually see the booster again. This is from our highway plot. This is actually, I'll point this out. When I mention supercharts, and people go, wow, they must be raking money in. I bet they're all happy. No, it all gets put back into this. Literally, from the start, look at this. We bought this land. This plot of land, this camera's on, is our land. We bought it in Starbase, which you pretty much can't do now. So we did it at the time you could do it. It takes an army of people and a lot of support to make this work. It really does. No one's getting rich off this. I can tell you that as a founder of NSF. Trust me, I could OBS now my overdraft from a bank account, and they will see. Phil says shuttle. Nice one, Phil. That always works. Gets my attention. It's like squirrel to me. What's the best one, and why is it Robin Reliant? Oh, that's Top Gear reference. Have NSF supplied raincoats for all your lads and lasses at Starbase? I'm kind of wondering if we have anything to store that's raincoats. We don't think we have. We have sun shirts, which are awesome, by the way. I've got one of those. But not raincoats. It's probably that rare. It's almost like having AC in the UK. We shouldn't really need it that often, although this week we did need it. But best shuttle. Well, I can answer that one for you, Phil. It's Atlantis. Am I not right, Ryan? Atlantis, yes.
The what?
Best shuttle? Best shuttle? Yes?
Sure. Why not?
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for confirming that. Jay Keegan in the back room is also saying, Chris, you're absolutely right. It is Atlantis special. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Jay. It's there we go. Look, truth. There we go. See. The best shuttle is always usually the first one you saw, and that's how it works. So it's always a fun thing when people get take it too
First
seriously.
one I saw was Discovery.
Well, technically that's your best shuttle then. And to be fair, if we're talking about technical side of things, Discovery was the fleet leader. One little fact people don't know is when you visit these shuttles in their retirement homes, Atlantis at KSC Visitor Center, Endeavour's wonderful display at the California Science Museum, and Discovery at Dulles in is it Washington? It's not Washington State, it's Washington. Maryland, isn't it?
Yeah, it's around It's near Baltimore. Uvar Hazy Museum, Smithsonian. So where they have Enola Gay, they have an SR-71 in there. They have a lot of cool stuff in that museum. I always recommend going to Smithsonian, or for that matter, they don't have a shuttle there, but the Air Force Museum in Daytona is really, really good too. Always a lot of good museums and stuff to see space and aviation stuff.
So when you go and see these orbiters in their retirement homes, as I like to call them, they're not technically called retirement homes, but I do like the idea of these shuttles. I've finished my work, I'm on my pension now, I'm in a retirement home. They are amazing exhibits, but Discovery, this is a true story, is what's called the vehicle of record. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. This is a true thing, by the way, so I'm not making this up. Discovery was left mainly intact. Pretty much, apart from her engines, all the RS-25s were taken out. The OMEs were taken out as well for Orion, but the RS-25s were taken out for SLS, and they were given spare nozzles on rods. I call them nozzles on sticks, but it doesn't matter because on the parent side, they still look like real engines. But Discovery herself, or MPS, the main propulsion system, was left intact. Atlantis and Endeavour, they donated parts for SLS testing before SLS launched, so they were pretty much donors for early testing of SLS components. Discovery was on purpose left as the vehicle of record. She was a fleet leader, launched the most times out the shuttle, and was also a vehicle of record. So there we go. There's a little Discovery thing for Discovery fans there for you. Back to Starbase. Stephen wants to know, could either Tower 1 or Tower 2 at Boca Chica have crew egress arms attached in the future? So, crew launches. 1, Ryan, do you think they'll ever do crew launches from Starbase? And 2, if they do, how many years away from that? We're talking many years, aren't we, surely?
I don't know if they'll ever do crewed launches out of Starbase. I'm going to go ahead and say no, that they don't. I think crewed launches would be out of 39A and maybe out of 37. It's possible, but I kind of doubt it. And at that point, you would need a crew access arm attached to the tower, which will be fun in and of its own. It'll have to work kind of like the SQD arm, where it kind of partially wraps around the tower slightly, and so it can get out of the way of the chopsticks. And it'd be, of course, up near the top of the tower. And also, when they go to Block 4 will actually be slightly taller than the tower itself, so that'll also be a fun thing to look at when they do make an arm. I don't know how it's going to look. The only other way they could do it, which I don't really like this way, is they load the crew on board the ship when it's on the ground, and then the crew rides the ship when they go to stack it onto the booster. And then they get in their positions, they hook everything up, and then they fuel and launch. So the crew is on board before they even stack the vehicle on. That's also a way they could do it. I don't like that way. I want a crew access arm because it just looks cooler. But when you look at where the chopsticks are right now, that's kind of where a crew access arm would need to be. So the arms would have to be lower down on the tower. And the crew arm would also have to swing even further out in order to get out of the way of the arms when they go to actually catch a ship or a booster. So there's a lot of things they would have to solve when they go to add a ship like crew access arm, if that's the way they went. I can't wait to see what it looks like. It'll look cool once it's built, but I still think we are years and years away from something like that.
And that's something Elon himself, to be fair, has even said it. He wants to launch Starship. I think he said thousands of times, but that was Elon just getting crazy. He definitely understands that they need to launch this vehicle multiple times before they start putting a crew on it. And we're not talking about HLS here where they dock with it. We're talking about launch from the ground. That's a completely new ball game, or a different kettle of fish, as I like to mention, because it always confuses the Americans. That saying. There we go. Astro Ellie. Astro Ellie. That's Ellie. One of our writers has gifted a super chat, which is unbelievable. Ellie's great. Ellie is really finding a pace with the articles. Her articles on site. She's done loads of them now, and she's doing more and more. It's kind of funny because she'd been asking to join the team for a while, and we've been so busy, and it's mainly involved with Daz now because Daz runs NSF. So things get convoluted on the timeline. We have people who are looking to join us, but we just haven't got round to doing the proper process just yet. And we did the UK meetup, and Ellie tapped me on the shoulder, saying it's Ellie, and I didn't recognise her at all. And I think I mumbled in her face something. I don't know what it was. It's a horrible first impression. I was like, blah, 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 Ellie, blah, 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 blah. So I came across like a complete idiot, which is never a good thing. But luckily, Ellie got past that and started writing for us and doing fine work for us on site. So that's awesome. And thank you for supporting us. I mean, you're one of our team. Stephen is, whoa, I didn't know it was a Vandenberg today. Oh, yes, it's a Vandenberg fog reference that was due to come up at some point today. Ironically, I think Vandenberg's been quite clear recently, which is completely dismissing the general appearance of what we normally expect from Vandenberg, which is foggy sea fog. What do they call it? Ryan, what do they call that where it's foggy? At Vandenberg. Marine layer. The marine layer. That's it. There we go. I got there in the end. Astro Wanderer. I tell you what, Ryan, my brain is still not fixed. Astro Wanderer, do you think Booster 20 will have less aggressive flip maneuver to prevent the issues from last flight with the engine problems at separation? Right. So, what do we think went wrong with Booster 19 during the boost back? And what do you think they've done to rectify it?
I think the booster flipped in the wrong way. And then maybe the engine relight sequence on the booster was a little bit off too, and it was partially due to that. I think the fix will be to do a different ship relight sequence to help flip the booster in the correct direction, as well as an updated relight sequence on the booster itself. So mostly software changes. I think they'll be fine. I think the booster flip will work just fine this time around. Booster 20 will do a boost back burn and a saw splashdown in the Gulf, which will prove its landing burn, and then they'll try to catch 21. That's my guess is what's going to happen.
Nice. I mean, this is the interesting thing, and the confidence they found what was wrong, and they're so confident that they've solved it, that they go into Flight 13 with the opportunity to bring the booster back. Now, why is Chris talking slowly and sound like I'm an idiot? Well, one, I am an idiot, and two, they may yet still go and try and catch this. It's less likely that they don't. It's less likely they do than they don't, because getting one good boost back burn, a targeted splashdown, really gives them the confidence to go for a catch on, say, Flight 14. But I would not rule it out just yet, because SpaceX is SpaceX. But at the same time, I think, Ryan, you brought this up yesterday, don't risk the pad unless you're really confident. So it's probably more likely they won't try and catch it. But I kind of hope they go into it thinking, we'll give it a chance, we won't rule it out. But then during the actual live launch itself, we hear the call out, divert into the ocean or something. What do you think, Ryan?
I don't think they'll try. There's no reason to try it. That's a big risk when you've never tested this new booster in a... They haven't tested this booster in the glide back that it's supposed to do, in the landing burn that it's supposed to do, and it's completely different from what the older booster used to use. They have a new LOX landing tank, the plumbing is different, the transfer tube's different, the CG of the booster's different, they have a different set of grid fins, it's completely different than the old booster. Simulations will only get you so far. You need to test this thing on an actual trajectory and landing burn before you risk slamming into your only operational launch pad. Yeah. you need to make sure it works. So don't catch on this one. Make sure the whole thing works is fine. Catch on the one once you're sure everything works. That's what I say.
No, it's a big point. I like that. Your only operational launch pad is true. We see all these towers. We see them at 39A. We see them at 37. One's growing at 37. We see 2 towers here, but only one is an active launch site right now. If they damage pad 2 in a way that stands it down for several months, they're not launching for several months because 39A is not ready right now, and they've still got a lot of work to do before 39 is launching. We do hope for this year, but again, we're talking months, and that would be not great at all to underestimate. Not great. It'd be terrible. Mergs, big super chat, by the way, Mergs. I see you all the time in SBL in the morning. Thank you for your support. That's amazing. You didn't actually put anything there as well. Just basically, it's come up and say thank you for your support with no message. So just basically a super chat. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Dad of a bunch. I think they are rehearsing for rapid operations, no rollback, etc., but fully understand and expect that it's possible the booster or ship may need additional work before launch. I think that's where we are, isn't it, Ryan? We're going to watch this one after they complete what we hope will be a static fire test of Booster 20 and see if they leave it at the launch site or roll it back, because normally, I think every single time, if I'm not wrong, they've rolled them back after a static fire test before rolling them back out to the pad again for launch day.
It's possible this stays out. We don't really know, that's a big jam or big boost for rapid operations where, okay, you send the booster out for cryo, you get the engines installed, you get it flight ready, you roll it out, static fire it, take the harnesses off, and then fly it without ever rolling it back again. That's a big one because they've had to roll back just about every single booster they've done before. After a static fire, they have to roll back for final inspections and stuff like that. So if they don't think they need the final inspections, or they think that they can do whatever they need to do on a transport stand, then they won't roll it back. But if they think they need to do more inspections and stuff like that, then they'll roll it back for probably only a couple of days and then roll it back out again for full stack testing and then launch. So we'll have to see what happens. Ship, when it rolls out next, will be for flight. They're doing their final checks on that thing, and then it'll need to get Starlink sims, and then it'll roll out for launch at that point.
Very good. This is actually quite a good question. Even though the weather is kind of passing now, it was certainly a lot worse earlier. The question is, are the chopsticks needed to stabilize the booster during a storm? So they've had the storm go over. They've not reattached the chopsticks at all. They've kept them separate at the top of the tower, extended as they would be for the static fire test. I assume the way that this booster, the V3, are held down on Pad 2's orbital launch mount keeps it firmly in place.
Yeah, this clamping system is way, 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 way better than what they had on Pad 1. Pad Scrap, as I like to call it. That thing, those were not necessarily great. They worked for what it was. This clamping system is much more rigid, or I should say it's much better overall than the last one. Heck, on the last one, there was no way, even with a full LOX tank, could they even attempt to run those engines up to full thrust. They did that with Booster 19. Granted, they had a full LOX tank, but those clamps are far better on this one. So it's not like they need it. If they had a full stack going through this, then the sticks would have gone around the ship just to kind of hold the ship close. But otherwise, no, the booster is pretty secure. And I'll say to people, been around watching the storm go by. From what I'm looking at with the tank farm, we're still on track, which means I'm watching to wait to see if the subcoolers engage and like the methane reclaim shuts off and some stuff turns off within the next 15 minutes by 8:30. If we're still on track for what I believe is like a 9:05 or so T0, they should start loading by 8:30. So we're gonna have to wait and see if they're still on track and they're still gonna load here. The cell is basically kind of out of the way. Mostly. There's some storms to the south, but they're mostly starting to break up, and they're not scheduled to even get to Starbase till like 9:30 or so. So if they can load it and get static fire done and start to detank before that arrives, which is looking like it's just going to be rain on that cell down there, then they should be fine. So we should see what kind of test they're going to do today. I know I said static fire, but we could have a tanking test plus igniter today, if anything. So we'll just wait and see.
Brian Webber with the weather. Now, Chris with sports. Vanguard Space wants to know any thoughts on. Well, don't start me off. Careful. We're very nervous about Ireland ripping England to pieces tomorrow. Vanguard Space. Any thoughts on China's booster catch last night? That was cool. It was interesting because it was like a mixed match of what they've seen SpaceX do with a strange kind of catch on a barge. Any thoughts, Ryan, on that one?
It's definitely a different way to do it, using cables, but heck, it worked. You know, what can I say? It worked. They caught a booster. They did what only one other company in history has been able to do, which is catch a booster. They've entered an exclusive club again with rocket boosters to have been landed or caught, and that is Falcon 9, Starship, New Glenn, and now Long March 10. So yeah, it's an exclusive club, and we add another one to the list.
Yep, it was great video. I've been drone shots and what have you. It was interesting to see, but also regardless of the copycat replies I saw on all X posts, it was kind of different, to be fair. But also, it's a good sign because we want to see China look into reusability rather than dumping their stages and boosters over local villages, which is what they used to do quite a lot. I laugh. It's not funny. It really wasn't funny. These like hydrazine rockets, which were not healthy. These big red clouds. When you see a big red cloud from such an event, that's not good. Don't breathe this. Now wants to know, it looks like SpaceX is reusing some of Booster 19's damage engines. So what about that? How does that work, Ryan?
I haven't actually double checked all the different serial numbers myself since it rolled out, or since it was lifted, I should say. But that wouldn't really surprise me if SpaceX went to reuse those engines. I mean, if you can fix them and reuse them, why not? Why chuck the engine away if you can fix it and reuse it? That's what I would say.
And for people going, but that's not possible because Booster 19 crashed into the ocean at a very high velocity. We're talking about the engines when they were doing testing, and they basically had a hard stop. I think they described it as a hard stop, wasn't it? And they had to replace many engines. So we're talking about those engines that were taken out at that time before launch. D Space Guy wants to know, when is the Flight 13 patch? Aha, right. So if I turn my OBS on and Jay goes to present, we can leak it onto the stream, can't we? I'm sure, absolutely, I will not be in any trouble from the store team, and Daz would have no problem with that whatsoever. I've seen it. It's awesome, as always. It's another Jax one, so you know it's going to be good because he's done the previous ones. I don't know when we're releasing it. It usually is around the point of full stack for launch. That kind of becomes less of a set thing when they start doing these things for stacking and launching within like 12 hours. So we've got to be careful about the timelines here. We will let you know, though. It won't be a sudden surprise. We'll make sure we'll tell you in advance, right? On this stream, we're going to release it. You know, it could be a countdown to launch, for example. One of those countdown to launch shows. So keep an eye on things. We'll make sure you know. It's an LSR thing to mention the socials, because we'll probably tell the socials, you know, we'll say, right, this is when we release the patch, and we'll actually release it on the socials at the same time as well. So if you're following us on X, what's the other ones? Facebook, Instagram, would you believe TikTok, and Threads. So it covers all the bases of where people congregate on social media, shall we say. That's when you'll get to know. We won't surprise anybody with it. We'll let you know when we're going to do it. Do you think they might do a simulated catch like they've done with Flight 4 if they don't catch it? So let's take the event where they're not going to be catching it. It's confirmed. SpaceX put the release out saying we're going for a targeted splashdown. But while they do that targeted splashdown, the chopsticks pretend they're doing a catch. That makes sense, Ryan, surely.
They could do it, and then they could also run the deluge as well as for pretend catch as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Why not?
Any idea what's rolling to masses tonight? I've just seen that question come up.
I don't know. 41 looks like it's on its engine install stand. They could roll if they want to do some more modifications and testing on the ship the ship cryo stand, so the ship thrust sim stand, they could roll that back out to Massey's to do some stuff to it, because ship 42 isn't going to need it for at least a month and a half or more, because 42 isn't even fully stacked yet. It's waiting on its common dome as the next section. And that's about it. Unless they roll back 40 again for more static fire or more engine testing, that's about the only thing I can think of. If they roll back 40 out, but I wouldn't really necessarily make that push the timeline too much, because they did that with 39. They rolled it out. Looks like they did an igniter test and then rolled it back again, and they were still pretty good on timelines for launch. So, and we've seen they can roll out to Massey's, do a test, and roll back in like 36 hours. So it's not like it uses up that much time. So we'll have to see what rolls. We'll have to pay attention.
I've just been reminded by Elisar, one of our social team, who does fine work with the rest of the team on the socials, that we do have a Nightbot command, which links to all the places we do our socials. And I completely forgot about Blue Sky, apparently. Not surprised I've never used it. Top quality NSF team this year. Great MC skills and superb knowledge. Loving it. Well, I'm the MC, and that means superb knowledge must be aimed at you, Ryan, because it's definitely not me. But thank you for your support. That is amazing. That's always nice to hear, isn't it? It's rare these days, I must admit. You've got to have a thick skin. I will say this. I'm going to go rabbit hole time. If you're new and you're thinking of starting a channel, maybe some coverage, that's how I started. It wasn't professional. If you want to just start doing these things, one thing I'd say is have a thick skin. The internet's a rough place. You've got to be prepared for people you've never known or will never meet being absolutely rude towards you. It's just an internet thing. People from behind monitors tend to be ruder than they would be in real life. You just let it wash over you. It happens, especially when the audience grows. But stick with it, because there's always going to be more people who appreciate what you do. Like that one. I mean, so that's the thing you've got to always take into account. Just don't expect it to be 100% support. It never is. The internet doesn't work that way. You could have, Jesus Christ himself go on social media. You'll have some people go against him. It's just the way it works. It's just the way the internet works. So always have a thick skin and remember what you're doing it for. The people who do support you. That's the trick. I'm getting old, aren't I? I'm turning into, well, son, when you go on the internet, this is what it'd be like. Mechazilla, how long does it take to fully load a booster for us? Oh, it's a Ryan question if ever there was one. How long does it take to fully load booster for a static fire test?
34 minutes. In fact, SpaceX looks like they released the Flight 13 timeline last night, probably without meaning to, but it looks like they did, where the booster is getting loaded first. The ship is getting loaded second. They also swapped what's loading on the ship first, so it actually looks like it's a legitimate timeline for it. There are a couple of changes, and not only that, the entire stack loaded a little bit quicker. I think I did the calculations on it. The booster... Oh, let's see if I can find it. I literally did the calculations earlier. Booster would load in 33 minutes, 43 seconds, and then the full stack would load in 34 minutes, 23 seconds, if that timeline is the Flight 13 timeline. So, quick. Very quickly.
Byford's in chat. Always Byford. Byford never misses a chat. Even when Byford's busy with work, Byford pops in and does a super chat to say, I'm busy with work, but here we go. I mean, that's crazy. You'd expect, I hope Byford gets value out of what we do and doesn't miss most of the real work. But happy Friday, NSF crew and fellow nerds. Here's to a fantastic Satisfier. I'm starting to get excited. Yeah, I think that's probably a really good point, actually, because we've had the lull between Flight 11 and Flight 12, while obviously they moved to Block 3. Then we had Flight 12. That was all exciting. Obviously, we wanted to see, the booster come back properly, but everything else was pretty good. I mean, let's face it. I think, let's first of all cover this, and I'll come back to what I was talking about, Ryan. But overall, Flight 12, for me, it went past my expectations for the first flight of Block 3. I think it did very well overall. Would you agree?
Yeah, Flight... it definitely went a lot better than probably even SpaceX expected, I would say. The ship got all the way to splashdown without too many issues. They lost an engine out on ship, and it still made it. Like, there was a lot of different things that went wrong on the flight, but a lot of things that went right. And it definitely exceeded. I think it exceeded my expectations on how well it went. That's for sure. I expected it to go a lot worse than that, with how many changes they had made to every, especially the booster. So, yeah, it definitely went well.
I agree. But again, the other part of that is the excitement again, because we are now having less of a turnaround between 12 and 13 as expected, but also we may have even less of a turnaround between 13 and 14. We've seen that Ship 41 is undergoing testing. It's gone through its cryo proofing. It might more, but either way, in fact, no, because you mentioned it's on the engine stand. So it's getting its engines now. So the next thing will be static fire for Ship 41, which is Flight 13. We've seen the boosters. Let's go over the boosters, Ryan. We've got booster 21 now completed, I believe, and booster 22 in build-up.
Yep, booster 21 is done. Probably cryo within the next 3 weeks, I would say, 2.5, 3 weeks. And then booster 22, the LOX tank is pretty far along. It needs one more LOX section, 4-ring section, and then it needs the transfer tube, plus the small bit of the transfer tube that hooks into the aft, then the aft, plus the LOX landing tank. It needs all that stuff. Then the LOX tank's done, and then they can build the methane tank. So that's where that's at. We're still on track here. And for those who can notice, the LOX cannons are not venting because those are now disabled. They have completely changed the way they're bleeding off LOX vapor return, liquid vapor return. So that's why you don't see those venting anymore. In fact, it's hard to see where that new vent is. It's currently like kind of blocked a little bit on one of our cameras because there's a big cloud coming from where it is. But they're running that liquid vapor return back into a pair of tanks now, rather than just venting it outboard and dumping a bunch of liquid oxygen all over the place. So that's one of the changes that have between Flight 12 and now. I'm currently waiting for the methane subcoolers to fully engage. The box fan definitely looks like it's starting to chug a lot more. So we could be getting close to prop load here.
I'm going to leave this with Jay Keegan. There's two things in play here. One, we don't want to obscure the view of what will be events at the tank farm we're watching ahead of this prop load, but also if we can actually do it, because Ziggy wants to know, can we show the video of the booster that SpaceX posted yesterday? I think the rollout with the reflection in the factory windows, which was amazing, by the way. So I'll leave that with Jay. Jay's typing. Need a few minutes. So yes, we're going to have that. There we go, Ziggy. Leave it with us. Cool. Because it was actually, to be fair, very cool. We actually know the drone operator at SpaceX, and he's a real guy, good guy. Does amazing cinematography. So all props to them. Have we seen, Lozio Bob wants to know, have we seen any prototype test at McGregor that could simulate the upper engine of HLS that we think will be a variation of the Raptor engine or a brand new engine? So a bit like Blue Origin's B7, I assume. What we're thinking about the plans there, Ryan? I've never read anything suggesting a different type of engine for that HLS.
It'd still be Methalox. I don't know if we've seen it. I think there's a lot of speculation around it. Guess as good as mine on where that is, if it's tested, if it's ready. I don't know, to be entirely honest with you. It's a big question mark.
It is. But again, you know what? I've said it before many a time. I'm going to say it again, though. One thing I really enjoy about not knowing things, like the lack of, because I'm from the shuttle reporting era where you got everything. I mean, I brought up the story once. There was a problem with the external tank on STS-133, and I emailed NASA, and they gave me PDFs on the part they were replacing and an interview with the engineer working on it. I'll never forget that. I got everything I needed. It was just, both they trusted what we'd do with reporting of it, but also they loved the fact that people were reporting on it. It's different with the commercial sector now. So you don't get all these like timelines and PDFs and what have you. You do get enough information to get by on, but a lot of it is observational data. But a lot of the future plans are very much speculation. And that's kind of fun. I've always found that fun because we're speculating on what is a very exciting future for a start. And that gives us all hope, doesn't it? Let's face it. We all need some positivity in the world these days. But I find that fun. I really do. Sometimes I don't mind not knowing, because we can have these live streams, we can have these conversations between us and the community, and we can work it out. And sometimes it's really fun to go back and say, oh yeah, 2 years ago we were talking about this, that, and the other, and it became true. We worked it out ourselves. That's fun. I've always found that fun. There we go. Sort of ramble for a bit. Mechazilla, will HLS launch from Starbase or will it launch from the Cape? I'm thinking 39A, Ryan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 39A. Well, 37's not going to be ready for that anyways. So, yeah, that's 37's not going to be ready for a little bit. So I expect 39A will be HLS, and it needs to be 39A because it's historic launchpad 39A. Come on, yeah.
Steve, this is not even a question, but I'm going to point it out. Steve says, Steve, everyone here is awesome. I can ask anything without fear of without being made to feel stupid. Good. That's exactly how we want it. This is a hardcore kind of like technical channel with this site that is based around that. We're not, we are technical, but it is a big thing that we've got a community where somebody could turn in, just basically knows what a rocket is, but nothing else, and ask some questions. And I've got a very high confidence that the community will answer that person in the way that they get to learn and not feel patronized. There's no superiority where someone says, well, do you mean you don't know what the ISP of a Raptor 3 is? There's none of that. I've never seen it, and I'd never encourage it. So that's great. I'm glad you feel that way, because it's exactly what I want our community to be like, and it is. So that's really cool. John, Mr. Coffee, speaking to someone in our community all the time, has gifted Red Team membership. Every single stream. It literally is. I'm not even joking. So that is like hundreds over the span of all these streams that you've gifted a membership. Very much appreciated. By the way, if you do get a gifted membership, say thank you in chat. It's for free. You've been gifted a membership for free, and probably, very likely, in a month, we're going to have a Starship launch. So there we go. That's really cool. Justin Smith, can we all meet y'all? I can't do an American accent. At the launch and get autographs. Well, you could. I don't know about autographs. I mean, I'd feel really weird if someone came and asked me for my autograph. But if you see any of our team, definitely say hello to them. They're probably very, very busy, but definitely say hello, and they will say hello back, and you might even get a patch. I know that Daz has a thing where he likes our team and himself to give out NSF patches to anyone who comes up to them. So while I would say don't hang around for an hour while they're trying to fix cameras and stuff, definitely say hello. I'd absolutely agree with that. So that's really cool. Ryan, let's do a timeline thing, because a lot of people are joining. I noticed the stream viewer watching number is going up and up and up. So I think it's time we did a quick summary of where we stand.
So as of right now, if they were targeting 905, they should be into prop load right now, which they are not. I'm trying to see if they're doing locks before methane or something like that. I don't see the QD kind of frosting or anything. I'm waiting for the methane reclaim vent to shut off, and the methane subcooler to engage as well. They haven't done that yet, so we're kind of we might be in a little bit of a hold for them, waiting for a window to load it and do whatever test they want, just in case they were to have more rain or stuff show up, which it really shouldn't. It looks like a lot of the stuff to the south is breaking up, so I'm currently just waiting to see indications of start of prop load right now, and then we'll have a better T0 once they get to that point. But as of right now, I don't think they're going to be going at 905, but we'll see here.
I like it because that answers the question from AKA Soft Banana, the time prediction of static fire. And side note, I have enough time to go. Do I have enough time to go to grab a Tesco meal deal? That's a UK joke there. Well done. I like it. Yeah, I think if your Tesco's local, you're okay. But if you have to drive to the Tesco, it's a supermarket to the Americans, by the way. So it's like a Walmart. You might be risking it, I would say, because this is happening pretty fast. Bodger 1058 Radpat's back with another 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you for your support as always. And Nathan's here, Astro 95 Media, call in the pocket, plan to attempt catch and see how pad and booster behave. Plenty of off ramps along the way if needed. Godspeed today, booster 20. Yeah, the off ramp is the decision point after the boost back burn. In fact, Ryan, let's go back over that because it's been a while since we've had that decision point. They conduct the booster back burn. They ask the tower if it's ready, and they ask the booster if it's ready. That's after boost back shutdown, isn't it?
One sec, Chris. It looks like the subcooler's just engaged.
Oh.
Yeah. Either that was a puff or they're engaging. I think we are in start of prop load.
Well, hey.
Just as I was saying, we were waiting on it, so that would put it at like 9:10, 9:15. If we are in prop load, that is. That's going to be one of those if things, because it looks like it puffed.
Well, you know what that means? I think that means we should bring in the man, the legend, Alejandro Alicante Romero. I can't do it.
You're getting better, though.
I'm getting better. I'm learning. I will get it right one day, and I'll shock you one day when I get it right. Ryan's going to pop off for a bit, so I'll hang around until then. But then when it should time quite nicely that we'll have Ryan and Alex for the static fire prop loading. So I think we'll have the A team on there. You don't want me rumbling around, and I'll be doing my Bandicam work anyway, won't I? So Ryan, if you want to pop off for a bit, and then just let me know when you're back. Me and Alex will continue for a while. So Alex, let's refresh people, because again, the viewers always go up when things start happening, and we'd like to remind them of the timeline. Once we start seeing the frosty part of prop load, how long until they have enough prop in the vehicle that they could potentially static fire this?
Once we start seeing frost, the actual propellant load has probably already gone for like a couple of minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes even, because they load a little bit. There's also like in this view, there's still like another ring of the liquid oxygen tank, and they start loading a little bit slower, and then they ramp up so overall, when you account for that, it's about 5 minutes into the propellant load sequence. So by the time you see frost, we should be about 30 minutes away from whatever test they do today. We're hoping for a static fire test, but we'll see what happens. Definitely it sounded like, I was talking about this in the back channels, where I was like, the sounds that we're hearing, they all sound very, I don't know, tank farmy, if you will. Right? Like when they spool up pumps and all that kind of, sort of thing. So yeah, we'll see if we see any frost in any minute now, but that's the hope. And if we're not, then all of those sounds were just SpaceX trolling us, as they always do.
I've got one way to ensure they do start prop loading, is for Jay to play the video that was requested of the rollout of Booster 20. So if we start showing that video in a box, I guarantee you we'll have to end it prematurely because they've started prop loading. That's my method of madness there. But here we go. This is it really was a beautiful reflection. That's so cleverly planned. People were very focused on the booster itself, but I was really sort of like my gaze was put towards the reflection. It looked like two boosters rolling out. It was really cool, and that's a great view past it. Is that the Star Factory? Or is that the offices? That point there.
It's sort of all in one building, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the part of the factory.
Now you can see it's passing by. That's the Highway 4 to the launch site. That's the iconic view now. It's how it's about 1 mile distance, Alex.
Yeah, a little bit over a mile away from the pan. That is, I was actually looking it up yesterday because we're talking about the Chinese launch, right? And there were people watching the launch from like a mile away, and I was like, wow, that's as if somebody was out there at a highway plot when Starship launches out of Pad 2. So it's a little bit over a mile or so. I think it's closer to like a mile and a half from the launch pad.
Very cool.
I keep hearing tank farm noises, like really loud noises.
The funny thing is, Alex, is next time I do a stream, I need to work out my audio settings because I didn't hear anything. I didn't even hear the pad PA video. I'm sure it was playing, and I was probably talking over it about shuttle or something. So I need to sort out because I can't hear anything apart from other commentary. So there we go. I need to sort out last time. But anyway, on that, let me just say thanks for having me on, and I'm going to hand over to the A team of Ryan Webber and Alex for hopefully a static fire test.
Is that a pun because my name starts with A?
I can't do puns unless unintentional puns is what I do, Alex. Unintentional puns. Sawyer's going to be very furious with me that I didn't do a pun on purpose.
Well, I guess I got to take over here from hosting duties because, it's what it takes. now to do this, I guess. But yeah, let's take a look here. I see now what Chris sort of put on our queue and whatnot. Oh, I actually am wondering the same thing, sort of, which is it possible B-21 goes for cryo tonight? There's a road closure for a transport from the production site to Massey's. Do we think that's Booster 21? Maybe Ship 41 going another round of cryo? I don't know, Ryan. What's your opinion?
I don't think 21's ready.
Alright.
That only got fully stacked on the 28th of June. It was only, 2 weeks ago, even? Less than 2 weeks ago. So I don't think it's ready. Most of the boosters, they've been taking about a month to finish off. I would expect they might be sending the ship cryo stand out for more testing and modifications or something like that. They also might be sending 40 out for another igniter test if they had to do an engine swap after the 6-engine static fire. We'll have to wait and see what it is, but I kind of doubt it's Booster 21. It'd be incredibly surprising and shocking if it was. If they cryoed 21 before they flew this flight, that'd be astonishing to say the least. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a vehicle. I would bet more on Ship 41 sort of needing to go out there again or something like that, like something maybe was not right and they had to send it again. But I have no idea, to be honest. It's probably more likely to be some stand or something like that.
The booster cryo stand's still at Massey's too, so that would have to roll back in a closure before they rolled out with booster. So no,
and that will need a closure as well. So
yep,
that
so no.
solves some clues, or at least
that solves that.
Yeah. So we'll see what rolls out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's some silly stand or something like that, or piece of equipment that is just too big to to necessitate to issue a road closure like that. Let's take a look, because I'm keeping track here of some of the questions, and I see here one, because we were talking before about the weather. I think most of the rough weather has already passed, right?
Yeah, a lot of it's already passed. The stuff to the south is basically dissipated and broken up. I've been watching radar the whole time. It's kind of just dissipated. So they should be fine on weather. Whatever hold they are in a hold for chill down or something else. Right now, we are just waiting for the methane reclaim vent to turn off, the methane subcoolers to fully activate, and then the box fan to really activate. And then basically that'll indicate prop load. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting on that.
Yeah. So there was a question about this sort of related to that, which is the fact that there's no lighting towers. Like, do they have any lighting towers on these pads? Doesn't seem like there's any.
Nope.
So how do they deal with all of this?
Well, there wasn't any really lightning in that storm. I mean, there is now because it's kept growing and growing and growing. So there's lightning to the north, but I know that they plan on putting lightning towers on the tower at 39A and probably both on 37 because Florida gets a lot more lightning than Starbase does. Starbase mostly are heavy rainstorms more than anything else, more than lightning. Because sometimes it does, but not often. I'm still surprised they haven't put one on just, as a precaution, but they just haven't.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite difficult because usually you have like a set of wires, right, and cables for this sort of thing. The ideal will probably be do something like the Chinese do and have like multiple towers that do the lighting protection system and also catching. That would be awesome. Not gonna lie. For example, if you look at Slick 40 at Space Launch Complex 40 on the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, it's sort of like that. It's like 4 different towers, and then there's like a square of wires above the rocket, and that's their lightning protection system. And it's super cool because if you can imagine a future evolution of all of this, that can be your catching net sort of thing, and you have like, you know, the sticks coming out of the booster and sort of, you know, like the little pins, right, on the booster, and then they land on the wires. That will be crazy, but you know, yeah, I guess it will be a way of solving both issues if they ever had such an issue. More heavy on the infrastructure side, but I mean, not a whole lot more. They already have a lot of infrastructure work to do.
Indeed, they have a lot more to do. Like it's one of those things everyone talks about hourly launches and 1,000 launches in a year, and it's like I don't think anyone realizes the logistics and the infrastructure required, propellant wise, vehicle wise, in order to do something like that. It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I think people would be completely shocked about how much jet fuel gets used per day at an airport. And that's not that much. Like the max you can put inside of a 737 is like 44,000 pounds, which is nothing compared to what a Starship holds. And they burn that in maybe two, 3 flights. Burn that in a couple flights. Not even. They'll burn 25,000 in a flight easy.
I mean, and this is not us saying, oh, it's not going to happen ever, right? It's just that it's going to take a lot of time and work and everything. And so it doesn't surprise me when we heard Juan Chadwell, like, I think it was like a month ago, when they did the IPO and everything like that, she was talking about future plans for Starship, and she was like, yeah, we're producing now, or we're about to produce our own liquid oxygen, liquid nitrogen. We're sourcing methane, and we actually may get into drilling for our own methane. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of infrastructure that you will need for basically hourly launches, as Elon wants in the future. And so it's not outlandish to think that they may do it in the future, right? Because all of the things are there. Oh, I hear
Loud vent.
venting. Quick venting. Maybe it's the venting right before propellant load, please. SpaceX.
Yeah, maybe venting the tanks off
Booster
before they
20.
start loading liquid into the tanks.
But yeah, as you were saying, just like airports, it took a lot of infrastructure to set up so that, you know, thousands and thousands of flights can happen all at the same time worldwide. So similarly, you know, it's going to take a while.
That sounds like
a lot
a
of
booster
money.
vent.
Yeah.
Equalizing pressure before loading? I wonder what they're doing.
Perhaps.
It's not like they have stopped chill down. I think they're holding the temperature right now or something. I'm waiting for like this to like fully engage and them to just really get going here.
Yeah, so I have a, you can call it my own question, if you will, because it's not unusual for them to do some kind of pressure cycling or some kind of purging and things like that. Did they do that yesterday? I remember they were venting the booster a lot. So
They
did
did
do
some
that?
venting. They might have done a quick maybe they're doing a quick ambient test.
Mm-hmm.
Like a more higher pressure ambient test than they maybe did last night or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're doing right now before they prop load it. Because this is the first time this vehicle is out here after cryo and alongside a lot of the changes they made to the tank farm, because they made a lot of changes to a lot of different systems.
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing some extra testing or some extra stuff before they go to load. Well, they have the time to.
It's also the thought that, as you mentioned, it's the first time this booster is getting to the pad, because all of the previous times that the booster has been tested, it's been at masses, right? It performed a cryo-proof testing, so it's sort of like a shakeup of systems, and they've been doing also work inside of the booster during this time. They've installed the engines, etc., etc. Like they've done a few things in the meantime since the cryo test. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the whole deal. As you mentioned, there were also changes to the tank farm and the pad in general. It is also the very first time they put a booster on the pad since Flight 12, right? And so it's the very first time for a lot of things right now, and they're just starting with pad 2. This is the only, like, this is the second time they put a booster on the pad, and by second time I mean like second booster that graces this pad, basically, right? Like, we had booster 19, now booster 20. It's the second test campaign here, so it's not like suddenly they're flying, you know, every 24 hours or every hour from this pad or anything like that. It takes time to get there. I mean, I always talk about this because I know a lot of people say, well, this was already built to be better and things like that. It's like, yes, it's built to be better, but they need to still learn how to work with it and how to get to that goal of, you know, less than 24 hours turnaround or even hourly turnarounds. We'll see if they ever get to that point. But my point here is that, oh, I hear a PA.
Why are they doing a PA when there's no one at the launch site? It is now safe to return. Did I hear that right?
What?
What did that say?
They abort or something? I have no idea. I heard return at the end of, as you said. I wonder if they crossed something there and maybe they were talking about some other place. It's weird, as you mentioned. There's nobody at the pad. There shouldn't be any PAs or anything like that out there. I was
saying, why are they putting a PA off when there's no one at the launch site?
They're warning Booster 20. Either you behave or you return.
They're warning Booster 20. Unless they're talking about the storm that passed, but that passed a while ago. That's not even within 5 miles anymore of the launch site, and usually that's the classification you give. It's within 3 or 5 miles. When lightning is that close, they usually say, like, okay, yeah, you can't be outside and whatnot during lightning and stuff like that, just as a safety precaution. That might have been an automated PA, based off of weather. So maybe that, yeah. Either way, I mean, they're still chilling down the tank farm, so
yeah, they're still chilling down. The booster is still there, chilling as well. All of the birds out there. Look at that. That's the Boca Chica Air Force. Good Lord. All right. Well,
can they start prop load?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you start the prop load, SpaceX, please?
Okay. It said no lightning detected within 5 miles. It is now safe to return. That's what it said. Yeah, like I said, within 3 or 5 miles is usually the set limit. Usually it's 5.
More venting.
A burst from the tank farm there a little bit?
Yeah, from the tank farm. Well, we'll see when propellant load starts. That's super odd.
Maybe they were waiting for that before starting to prop load. Let's see. Let's see if they engage the tank farm and start prop load at this point.
I guess very soon it will be no longer safe to return to the pad.
So it's a contradictory statement.
Yeah. There's a static fire about to happen. And everybody were like, what? All right. Well, after all of that silliness, let's keep going here, because obviously there's still more questions, and we have even some support to take off here. We got Ron Smith saying, "Morning, you all. Given the extensive infrastructure needed since it was first floated, are Starship offshore operations really practical still? And that is a very good question. Thanks for the super chat. By the way, Ron Smith is actually part of our crew. I don't know, like, you're good. You don't need to super chat or anything. But yeah, man, I mean, after all that we've seen, and I think it really makes all of the offshore operation stuff be more, not silly, but more like, definitely not for a vehicle of this size. Let's put it that way. Like a smaller rocket, I wouldn't put it past them, you know, like some other company with a smaller rocket being able to carry that out and be able to support, you know, frequent offshore operations of like a maybe partially reusable or fully reusable rocket out there. Starship is just so big. Just the propellant needs that you have to put out there and things. Like you have to carry your own air separation unit, your own, you know, LNG plant or something like that. It's so mad. Like it's just like that. It will be really weird. Like it's impossible, as the comment says. It's like, but is it practical, right? And like, would you spend all of that much money on that sort of infrastructure instead of, I don't know, building 10 more launch pads in Louisiana, for example? They're doing the Great Louisiana Purchase, as we call it, because you know, for the actual Louisiana Purchase.
I just don't see the offshore platforms being very viable for a rocket of this size. Not with the amount of propellant you need. Like, here's what you want to store. You're gonna, even if it's a single pad, you're gonna want to store 1.5 stacks worth of prop, because you're gonna want enough for a launch and enough for a scrub, just so you don't have to top off the tank farm again in case if you're gonna really reuse enough. Which that alone is a lot of tanks to begin with. That's a lot to store. Not to mention the launch pad itself, all the control systems, the deluge, everything you need. You still need somewhat of a deluge. It's kind of hard to fire straight into the water. It doesn't really work that way. Not with a rocket of this size that I know of. I don't really know how well that would work. There would still be stuff you needed, like for the... you need a deluge at least for the deck of it, because you're going to want to protect the deck and the mount itself.
If you allow me, from what I remember at least, the problem with firing straight down to the water is that when it's just flat and out there in the middle of the ocean, it's basically like a mirror for the sound, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what happens with the deluge, the normal deluge that you see there on the diverter, is that it's sort of like pulverized and like, you know, you're basically spraying it rather than just a flat surface of because otherwise what happens is that the exhaust needs to fight to get through the water, and it's actually, so a lot of that energy sort of reflects back onto the vehicle, and instead of being dispersed and being transmitted to the water and absorbed and all that stuff, it just gets reflected back, and so it's a big difference when it comes to that. A lot of people think that, oh yeah, just, you know, put a hole in your deck of the barge and just shoot the exhaust.
Simple.
It's not that simple, exactly. It's the I wouldn't say atomization, because it's a much more finer spray of water, right? But still, a spray of water, it's sort of what helps eventually drive that out and facilitate the transmission of that energy and everything to the water, and then it evaporates, etc. It's a much more nuanced sort of way of doing that. But yeah, it's a really good question, because, you know, it sort of comes naturally to think, oh well, they can launch more often if they were in the middle of the ocean. It's like, yeah, but how do you get your propellant and your power and all that stuff, right?
There's a lot of issues on that side.
Yeah. We keep getting support here. Let's see. Startwink becoming a red team member. Thanks for that. We have a store message here as well from Anonymous saying thanks for the coverage, and they are getting a collector spin from the Starship Flight 12 patch. So that's nice. Drew Nar with another super chat saying here, Starship lightning protection is auditory warnings. If you hear the klaxon, you're like, oops, something's gonna happen. Run out of here. Guess that's why they have the mega bunker, I think they call it. I don't remember now. It was a while ago that I saw that name. Yeah, don't they have like a bunker out there for weather and things like that?
They have weather stations around, I'm pretty sure.
No, I meant for like people and things like that with restrooms.
Well, yeah,
and all that
if you
stuff.
needed to get away from stuff, there's buildings you can go into that are definitely safe. Like if you went into the mega bunker they built, I'm pretty sure that could that's full concrete. The break room is full concrete. I'm pretty sure those would be safe against a tornado. If there was a tornado headed straight for the pad, I would go inside the service structure. That is a bunker. Like that thing's not going to go anywhere. That's thick steel plating. Same thing like inside the tower. Like if you hit inside the tower where the elevator is, there's some pretty hardened places. Or heck, go inside the launch mount and close the clamps. I don't think anything's going to get in there from a tornado. I think you'd be fine if that happened.
Yeah. Chris saying, what about Sharknadoes? I think they're protected. They're protected by firing the engines, I guess. They can fry them with the engines. Okay, and then...
Why they're not loading? It's weird.
Yeah.
They're just in this hold pattern right now where the box fan's just kind of puffing every once in a while. The biggest thing we're waiting for is for the methane subcooler vent for the boosters to engage and the methane reclaim vent to turn off, and then we're going. Basically, we're loading at that point. I'm waiting for that to happen. There's another puff from the reclaim. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. They're either testing something else or something's not looking right and they're trying to work through it or something. That's my guess. That's why they haven't started yet.
I guess we'll see it whenever we see it. There's a long window to go all the way to 7 p.m. Although 7 I hope they test way earlier than 7 p.m. just for the sake of my health. And also for the sake
we have TFT later.
Trench. Yeah, I was going to say.
We have Flame Trench till later this day, at least, so.
Yep. Raven just saying, they're waiting on Alex to look away. Look, I'm not going to look away. I got to tell you that. Because otherwise it's, yeah. Bad things happen when I look away. I still remember Ship 36. I was supposed to be on that stream, by the way, commentating, but it was very late. I was very tired, and I decided to go to sleep. I woke up and it still hadn't been tested, so I made a really good choice there. I had only slept like maybe 3 hours or so, but still 3 hours of sleep. That was nice at the time. And I woke up and I saw that the ship had a static fire, and I even complained in the back channel saying, this thing has a static fire. So I left my phone in sort of like one of the desks that I have and things like that. And then suddenly I see this flash of orange. Like I wasn't even paying attention to the phone. I just see this flash of orange. I was even like because it was late at night. It was like 4 or 5 a.m. here. And so my brother was sleeping and things like that. And so I didn't want to wake up anyone. So I basically had it on. So I didn't know where they were. I just saw that it was frosty and things like that. So I just left the phone for a moment. And then suddenly I see this flash. The whole room, of course, it was dark and it was in the middle of the night. No lights on or anything like that. So the entire room just, went up in orange. From just my phone screen lighting up. And I was like, what happened? And then I turn on the stream volume, and I hear Jack say, "Ship 36 just exploded." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So yeah, I'm not taking my eyes away from this booster. That's for sure.
I was driving around at work, and I just got a ping. I looked at my watch, and it just said "Ship 36 exploded." I'm like, "What?" So as soon as I stopped, I had to go watch the video.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
That was not great. Yeah, it was quite a punch. That's for sure. Let's see. Oh, we have Jeff Frischhoff or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering your name. He gifted 10 Red Team memberships, so that's another 10 more people that can join the membership program. And then we've got here Amy Carcatera, I guess, asking planetary sort of thing. I can quickly answer you. Will we orbit planets like Uranus and Saturn soon, or even former planet Pluto? Well, I will tell you from a probe standpoint, we've already done Saturn. Maybe in a few decades, Uranus, Neptune, all that sort of stuff. With crewed missions, you gotta wait a bit for that. But thanks for the support. Let's see. Should we speed run some of the questions? I have a very long list here of questions from a lot of people.
I mean, let's just go through them. I mean, the only the
quick
biggest
answers
interruption
only.
Oh, the reclaim vane just turned off.
Oh, well, yeah, it's true. The two little tanks there. Oh well.
But the methane subcooler vent is not on. Just the box fan.
Yeah, that's weird.
So... Come on, SpaceX. What are you doing?
We should put up a clock on screen and have like a lighting question sort of thing for
Lightning
Ryan.
round?
Lightning round questions. Because I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 questions in my queue here. Because there's like the normal queue where if you tag a NASASpaceflight and things like that, but then we can select which questions we want to bring up. And that selection of questions is super long already. And they're good questions. Like if I select them, it's because I think they're interesting and worth talking about in the stream. And so it's like, yeah. How do we do this? Because I want to hit them.
Go right ahead. If you
All
want
right.
to
Well,
do it,
let's do it
let's
then.
just do it. Well, the only interruption we're going to have is when they start prop load here. So.
Okay, so probably very on point for today's test. What kind of things will we see here before static fire? Can spin prime and igniter tests be seen from the cameras? Go.
Well, we can't see a spin prime. Igniter is pretty obvious because it's kind of a loud shunk. And then static fire, well, is a static fire. But we won't know what it is until it happens, basically. If they activate they can activate the deluge for all three. And we won't really know exactly what test they do until they perform it, because there's no other indication otherwise.
All right. When do you expect SpaceX to post their Flight 12 investigation report, Flight 13 pre-flight stuff? Wonder if they will post the Flight 12 recap like the fly video.
I don't know when they'll post that. Yeah, that is right. Also, the FAA mishap investigation isn't closed yet. That we're still waiting on either a closure or a safety exemption. As for recap for that, I don't know. It could be in the next week or two. They might do it right before they fly. Flight 13. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Let's see, because they're tagging more now.
Oh boy.
They're making me add more questions. Let me see. All right, y'all guys. Favorite rocket. This is for Lego Rocket as well, which is kind of a fun name. I'm going to say
rocket?
Falcon 9, but how about you, Ryan?
Saturn V. Hard to beat.
All right. Let's see. Well, Steelers fan also from one of the previous questions as well. Is Booster 20 just going to stay at the pad until launch? See, we're hearing quick questions
Maybe,
here.
maybe not. We'll see.
Okay, I said quick questions, but like you can say more than that.
Hey,
Like there's an
I made that
intermediate
quick.
point here. There's a middle point.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. They might keep it. They might not. I don't know if it has FTS. So yeah.
All right. Could they install it on the pad out there?
As far as I know, they can't do FTS at a pad with a Block 3 booster, but who knows? We've only ever seen one Block 3 booster get FTS, as far as I know. So yeah, that kind of puts a question mark on the whole thing too.
I hear more vent in there.
Yeah, they're not. It's still the methane reclaim vent. We're waiting on that the subcooler to go. I don't know what's going on here.
Come on, SpaceX, you can do it. You can do it. Let's see. Gameplay Warrior asking, SpaceX transport is much faster than NASA's. What is it? I guess the question was more like, why is it like that? I can answer
you mean
that
transporting
one,
to the pad?
Yeah, if you want to do that one.
Well, for one, SpaceX doesn't have to transport their entire launch mount to the pad along with the rocket. Or the tower. Basically, what NASA does is you take so you're looking at the tower and the launch mount and the booster right now for Starship. Basically, what NASA does is they take the tower, the launch pad, and the booster and everything else, transport it to the pad all at the same time, using a massive crawler. So they don't have to do that. They have that stuff. Their launch infrastructure stays fixed in place, and they move the vehicles to the pad. That's basically why.
And for SLS in particular, because it's the only NASA rocket right now.
Yeah.
But also for the shuttle, I guess it also works for that. Oh,
maybe.
No, but like the other one vertical there. See it?
The one all the way to the right is the
Yeah, but that was off before.
That is the methane reclaim. If it's going to show up, I don't remember if that's on or not. Oh. But anyways, the methane reclaim is all the way over onto the right. And then the other two vents are your subcooler vents. So if those stay on, as I say that, it dies off. It's getting annoying.
They're trolling us.
That's a troll right there. It started and it just stopped.
SpaceX. But yeah, I was going to say the other added thing is that the solar rocket boosters are already fueled. So all of the fuel on those is already loaded. So imagine rolling a partially loaded Starship stack, like the entire stack, plus the launch mount, plus the tower, right, with its QD arm and everything. Like, it will be heavy. So it takes more time to move such a thing because it is so heavy. It goes slower. It also has to travel a much shorter distance, to be fair. It's only like a mile and a half out here at Starbase. Out at Kennedy Space Center, I think it's closer to like 8 miles.
Well, it's starting to go more and more. So I would call that a better sign if it's staying on, which it looks like it is, question mark. If it stays on for like the next minute, I will say that we are definitely into prop load then, finally, which would put RT0 at like 935, 940, give or take. Something around there.
All right. We'll see what happens then. Should we continue with a fast track?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
All right. Are the tines already closed up on Booster 20? How about that? We can see
are.
that, right?
You can see that they're all bolted together. So those are all closed up. They're not taped up like 19s were. So that's also a good sign. That's a step that's done. They're all torque stripe bolts to close up the gaps. So yeah, they're closed up.
Michael Jones asking, the big crane has been laid down. They wouldn't have done that if they weren't planning a static fire?
Yeah, well, They would lay it down just so it's out of the way. Either they're static firing today, tomorrow, if they put out another closure, which currently the only closure on is today, unless they do a thing where they do an igniter test, recycle, and static fire. Question mark. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. They have all day, so they could they certainly could static fire, detank, retank, and static or igniter test, detank, retank, and do a static fire, unless the prop temperatures are fine and they static fire right after an igniter test. That's always something they've technically been able to do, but we'll see if they do it. That's why we always stay live until road open, because you never know what SpaceX will do. They always change up things. Usually they do one test, detank, and then they're done with it. Otherwise, we'll have to wait and see here.
All right. Well, I was gonna say something, but I think I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. 98 Central saying, what's the difference between the cowbell vents and the other vents? My own answer to this is that Starship needs more cowbell. Go ahead, Ryan.
It's directional RCS. Well, if you want to call it RCS, but that's what that is. A reaction control system. Thrusters. So some are just vents to be vents, and some are actually directional, which is why they put a cowbell on them. Basically, kind of like putting a nozzle on the end of it.
Yeah, basically just to make it go in a certain way that it's not straight out from the vent. It's just in another direction, basically. Let's see. Huh. How much different are the tank farms at pads and at masses? And then I can sit here and we can probably go through the test before Ryan ends with all the differences.
How much different? Okay.
See what I mean? This is not a short one.
In its base level, at the base level, the tank farms are relatively similar. They're using vaporizers to create, whether it's nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, or methane gas for pressurization of the tanks, pressurization of the vehicles, or pressurization of the system as a whole, and using it as cold gas and pre-pressed gas. So that, on its basis, that's the same. The subcooling is basically done the same, because the rocket has this, the way they subcool a rocket is the same for Starship. It's not the same for Falcon, as far as I remember. I think Falcon subcools slightly differently, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the full thing on that one. In terms of actually how it's all hooked up, they used to use bespoke ways of hooking things up, which is still kind of how they do things at Massey's. Some of them are valve skids, like pre-made modular valve skids. Some of it is bespoke. They're hooking it up and just kind of hooking it up not all willy-nilly, but not actually using a valve skid in front of the tank to hook things up. The launch site, they're using valve skids. 39A, they use valve skids. 37 will likely use the same. The tanks are all horizontal. They're different models with different capacities, but for all intents and purposes, you're using a horizontal tank to load, whether it's liquid nitrogen, liquid oxygen, or liquid methane. And now some of them also use vacuum jacketed lines, while some also use just insulated lines. I want SpaceX to go to 100% vacuum jacketed, because if they really want to launch hourly, using insulated lines is just stupid. That's stupid. Sorry, it's stupid. If they use vacuum jacketed, you can just keep the line chilled 24/7 without much thermal loss. And then whenever you go put a vehicle on the pad, you can just chill down the pad itself and then load it and go. So if they had vacuum jacketed everywhere, you could, in theory, put a stack on the pad and have it loaded within like 45 minutes. Maybe. I don't know. But we'll see if they do that at 37 or not. We'll have to wait and see, but there's still a long way to go before that pad's operational. There, I simplified it.
Yeah, that's a short answer compared to what he could do, because there's definitely enough differences that you could probably do an entire, I don't know, 1 hour long answer for that. But I can see now, Ryan. Do you see what I see on the right hand side here?
Yep.
Is that frost coming from the quick disconnect?
That is definitely frost
rather
coming
venting?
from the LOX quick disconnect. Right.
So could that mean
right,
we are in
right
propellant load?
there. There you go. Right there.
Oh, we have Reinhardt here. Well, that's not the only new thing that we have here, because we also have a new voice joining us, and that is EJ. EJ, yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Now as well.
I am here. Yeah. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I mean, low on sleep, but hey, I'm around at the very least, which is enough. But, getting ready for some action today, right?
There.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, yeah, nice. We're gonna get a static fire for flame. Oh, it's already testing. Okay, I gotta go. Oh, all right.
Woke up this morning, got yourself a booster.
Got myself a booster.
Yep, right there. Right there. There you go. Right there. They're starting to see some discolor when it comes to loading. You can see it alongside the chine. A little bit.
Probably because there's more material there, and it conducts the. I don't know. Whatever.
You can start. I can start seeing. Yep. There it is. Right there. There's that. You can see seeing some frost coming up, so we should see frost any minute now.
So maybe test at 950.
I see some metal.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of frost.
All right. Well, any minute now we should see that frost growing, and it'll look like a time lapse, but in real time, which is odd. But it really is like that.
Yeah, they do load pretty fast nowadays, huh?
Yeah. It's really interesting. So let's see. Some people not knowing what a vacuum jacketed pipe it is. Quick as well with that one.
Vacuum jacketed line is, instead of like foam insulation to help keep in the temperature, basically it's a double-walled line, double-walled pipe, and in between the double walls you have like nitrogen or helium. Sometimes, or for that matter, it's pulled, usually vacuum jacketed, it's pulled to a vacuum inside. So basically, you're double walled and there's no air there. That's what I would say. There's no air in between your two pipes, your two walls. So it's much harder when there's no air or no medium. It's incredibly difficult for like any thermal conduction between the inner wall and the outer wall when you have nothing to transfer to. That's why trying to radiate heat in space is incredibly hard. There's nothing in space to radiate the heat to. Like, that doesn't exist. It's not out there. So you have to come up with ingenious ways to do radiators like sublimation or other things like that. And I know EJ could definitely go into how radiators work in space, probably better than I can. But
heat rejection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, up in space, guys, you know, there's no air up there. I mean, there's little bits if you're in low Earth orbit. There's trace amounts, but there's not a lot up there. Like, I wouldn't suggest taking your helmet off up there. Probably don't do that. But for the most part, there's zero pressure. There's nothing there. So that vacuum, because there's nothing there, there's nothing to conduct or convect any heat, is a really good way to insulate things. Now in space, that works against you because you have to do something called heat rejection. There's these things about computers. Anybody here that's ever built a computer knows that it makes heat. If you have a really powerful computer, it makes a lot of heat. In space, you got to dump that. Now, heat rejection is a fairly linear problem to solve when you're up in space, right? Like, you know, we talk about satellites and stuff. If you're generating enough power, you can have a bigger radiator, et cetera, et cetera. You get a bigger pump and you can reject the heat. But down here, right? Down here, you're in the atmosphere. So there's air to convect stuff. That works against you with propellants, with the cold propellants that you see being put in the booster right now. That works against you. The reason why is because if you put cold propellants through a pipe that's been sitting in the sun all day. In order for the propellant, for these cold propellants, liquid oxygen and liquid methane, in order for them to not boil, right? If you heat up liquids, right, they boil. Like you heat up water, it gets to 100 C or 212 Fahrenheit, and it'll boil, right? These propellants have a very, 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 very low boiling point. So if you put this cold propellant through a warm pipe that's been sitting in the sun all day down in Texas, your propellant's going to start to boil off and evaporate in the line before it even gets to the rocket. So SpaceX wants to be able to load these propellants quick because they want rapid turnarounds, right? So as Ryan was saying, they have a pipe inside of a pipe, right? There's a smaller pipe inside of a bigger pipe, and inside of the bigger pipe, right? Yeah, there's really no other way to explain this, right? They bring the cavity between the two pipes down to vacuum, and that gives you a really, really good insulator. If you have a really nice thermos nowadays, they're vacuum jacketed. You have the outer part of the thermos, right? And you pour like hot coffee in there, right? It'll stay hot for a really long period of time because it's vacuum jacketed. There's actually, the thermos is actually 2 cups inside of each other, and it's sealed at the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's pipeception, as chat said. Yes, that's a good way to put it. What's up, dog? We put a pipe in your pipe so you can insulate while you vacuum.
Boom. There
you go. Ha, jinx.
Nice.
So, now we see here Cloudbase, Texas.
There you go.
With Booster 20 on the Cloud Launch Mount.
The cloud mount?
The Cloud Mount, yeah.
We technically don't know if the launch mount is there or not because we can't see it. It's Schrodinger's mount right now.
It is Schrodinger's mount right now.
Cloud goes up, cloud goes down. In this case, it's staying down. Cloud City, Star Mount.
Oh, I like Cloud City. Where's Lando?
Ooh.
So suddenly at Vandenberg now.
Yeah, that's right.
Are we in Bespin?
See? Yeah, see, I knew you'd get it.
No, dang it. Now I get the Family Guy version in my head.
It's funny seeing this here because the liquid oxygen is actually, you know how when they detank the booster, we say, oh, the frost that you see, it's actually way higher than the level of the liquid oxygen because the tank is cool, it's really, really cold, and it holds onto that cold, in quotes, holding onto the cold for a lot longer than the actual level of the liquid oxygen. So, it still retains that frost. The opposite is true when they start loading. The liquid oxygen level is actually higher than where you see a lot of these vapors and frost because it takes time for the frost to build up. But so when you see like the thickest parts of like the top of these vapors, that's where the liquid oxygen is. You don't see any thick frost yet because it takes a while for that to build up. But that's how fast they're loading this thing, that it takes a while for that frost to build up. And so you see more of the vapors when you look at the top of that level of the liquid oxygen, which is crazy.
We also don't seem to have a lot of wind down at Starbase today. So, I mean, usually the wind is blowing the frost like right off the booster, but we got this.
I mean, not right now. There was a bunch of wind earlier.
Yeah, right? You can kind of you see the wind kind of blowing the subcooler's exhaust away, but not so much on the booster. Got some calm winds.
You see a bunch of frost like going down and kind of pooling up in the inside the mount there, inside the trench, you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and at some point we should also start seeing, well, at some point, a little bit later down in the countdown here for this test, we should see frost on the methane tank as well up there, because obviously right now they're loading liquid oxygen, but it doesn't mean that they're not loading methane. It's just that it takes a while for them to get to that point. And also for these tests, I assume they start loading the methane later because they only load a little bit of it, right? Ryan?
The methane, they're like slow loading it, basically, is what they're doing. They're not going very fast. So I think what they do with it is they still follow like what they would, the timeline that they would for, say, a launch. However, they don't run all the pumps. They only run the pumps at like a couple, maybe 2 of them, and only at like partial power to load the amount of methane they need to in the specific amount of time. So they calculate the flow rate that they need, and then they run what they need to just do it. Is basically how they, as far as I understand, is how they run it. So they're loading methane right now. It's just they're not doing it very fast. So we won't see any methane frost if this is going like it did before. We won't see any methane frost appear until the LOX frost is near the top of the larger chines there. So once the LOX frost is like around there, give or take, it's not really a straight line, but you get the point. It'll be somewhere up around there, and then we'll start to see methane discolorization and frost. And then the LOX line will top out, the methane line will top out, and that's when they'll do some purging, and then they'll go ahead and do whatever test they're going to do today, whether it's igniter, whether it's a static fire, or spin prime. I don't think they'll do a spin prime. I think it'd be an igniter or a static fire today, but we'll see. And I know some are probably wondering why none of these are running here. Those LOX cannon vents that ran last time, those are no longer needed. They have completely changed the way the liquid vapor return or LOX bleed system works at this pad. It now runs back to a pair of 950 cubic meter tanks, to where it gets dumped into the tanks and then they just vent it out, is what it looks like. I don't know if they're reclaiming it or anything, or they're recondensing it. I don't think there's a system in place to do that, but it looks like they're just venting it overboard. So no more of the bunch of liquid oxygen dumped on the ground, anything like that. That's a thing of the past now. They've changed it.
All right. Well, we'll see when we see that, of course. As we usually say, they load the entirety of the liquid oxygen tank, or at least almost the entirety of it, for these tests, and then they load only just a little bit of methane. So we'll get to that point when we get there. Really fast growing line there of frost. So I was saying before, you can see now the frost is getting a little bit more thicker, I guess, in that area where we were looking at before. If you're wondering what is that line, that it's sort of like, I don't know, some people were thinking it's, oh, they're reusing the pest dispenser or something like that on the booster. No, it's just a bracket to hold the landing tank on the booster, because it's sort of welded to the side. But yeah. So based on this, we're saying maybe top of the hour, a little bit before that?
950, 955.
All right.
Be my range. Because LOX frost was around 920. If we go back to some of the older booster tests, like say for the booster test on May 7th, you had LOX frost, that was the 33 engine static fire. You had LOX frost at 911, and the T0 was 946. So exactly like 30 minutes after the fact. So I would say 950 or a little bit later, depending on if they do a hold or whatever happens, or if they have a deluge abort, or who knows what happens. But that's kind of my expectation. Let's hope no deluge issues. I hope not. I hope they figured that part out.
Maybe you should talk to the water boy.
Be water, my friend.
Spitting the subcooler.
Hey, it really goes on point with tonight's show of the flame trench, because we've got hopefully a little bit of a Starship review, I guess. And so if this is tested today, then it's gonna be double Starship coverage today, I guess, for tonight.
I like Starship. I'm okay with this.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We're getting more and more Starship. They're trying to ramp up cadence now. Booster 21 is completed. Booster 22 still needs a couple more parts to finish its LOX tank, and then they can start the methane tank. Ship 40, of course, is going to be for this flight. That needs its payload and final touches before it's ready to go. 41 is going to get its engines for getting ready for static fire. And Ship 42, the next section for it is its common dome section. And then comes the LOX, and then comes the 3 sections plus the aft, or including the aft for the LOX tank, along with its transfer tubes. And then we saw that Ship 43 has its forward flaps, and it's got some changes to its heat shield that the other ships might get. And then on top of that, hopefully it'll get its payload bay sooner rather than later, so that they can start it right after 42 ends, because they need to get going on production. Like, they really need to get going. I know they want to reuse sooner rather than later, which will definitely help booster-wise, but boy, do they need more ships, and they need them quick. If they want to get their flight rate up, because we're looking at maybe another 2 or 3 launches this year. Maybe 4, if we're lucky. Like, if everything goes perfect and they're able to reuse stuff. But we'll see. But they really need to get their production rate up.
Yeah, I mean, reuse will help a lot once they get to ship catches and the likes.
I got one word for you guys. Say it with me. Gigabay. Gigabay. Did you guys actually see the post?
I saw that post.
Yeah, with the 420-ton gantry crane. Oh, woo!
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
That was cool.
I like that. I like cranes.
The methane soup cooler vent is off.
We'll turn it back on.
I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting to see.
Use your telestrator. Turn it back on.
For those who are wondering, the vent. Okay. There you go.
There we go.
It's supposed to go right there.
Work?
It's kind of puffing a little bit. Maybe they're just going slow with it, but the LOX line is still rising, though, from what I can tell.
So we're good there.
And I don't see the methane recondenser at back of the tanks running, so that's a good sign as well. That means they're not, doing detanking or anything like that. But let me do a line here. Let's make sure it actually is rising. So that's where it is right now. Let's watch, make sure it's rising. So I'm not like playing tricks with my eyes here. The box fan's still going as if they are loading. So
it's still going up. So no problems there. I'll keep an eye on the methane tank. I think we have another camera. Oh yeah, saw a little vent there from the oxygen tank. But yeah, I think we have another camera closely looking at the bottom of the methane tank. So that'll be our clue for when. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay. But yeah.
Yeah, LOX line's still going, so they're still loading.
You can
they just
see
maybe taking it slow on the methane side. So.
Yeah, you can see the discoloration of the LOX tank below. It's already reached the point that you can already see it going all the way up to the top of the tank. That's cool.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
When the frost line reaches right about there is when you'll see methane frost, based off load times and what we've seen in the past. So.
Okie doke. Well.
Oh, that's some LOX tank venting there. But yeah.
Yeah. Normal stuff for this kind of thing as they keep loading the oxygen in the tank, the remaining volume gets smaller and smaller, and so the pressure goes up, and so you kind of have to vent that out.
Yep.
We have here a few more, I guess, less sophisticated questions, if you will. Like it's probably not going to need a really long answer from you, I guess. Talking, for example, about the crane. Wouldn't it be down for a static fire test and things like that? Or shouldn't the chopsticks hold the booster? I'm going to display some of these questions. Wouldn't the chopsticks hold the booster and things like that? Yeah, where's the other one?
They've never done that before, and they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, so they don't hold the booster for a static fire test. Although there was not holding
clamps
it.
hold the booster.
Yeah, the clamps hold the booster. There was one, I think it was Booster 9, way back in the day, where it was like hugged by chopsticks during a static fire test, but that was like very a one-off kind of thing. It's the only time that I remember. Or it might have been a spin prime or something like that. I know it was an engine test, and it was not even touching. Like the chopsticks were not even...
They're just kind of there.
Yeah, they were just sort of next, like closed, but not fully closed around the booster. That was the only time that I saw such a thing. Yeah, the crane from pad 1 is lowered, so... But yeah. Do we know what the flow rate, either meters per second or how many bathtubs per minute, are at the nozzle of the booster quick disconnect? Do we know?
I don't know
that sort of thing?
That number. Yes. Yes.
Well,
we'll go with that.
How many liters or gallons of LOX and methane do we have in here?
No, but you got to do it in a crazy unit because you both are Americans. So it needs to be something like, I don't know, dishwashers per bald eagle or something like that.
What?
I don't know.
What?
Or just GPM, gallons per minute, works.
We have
I forget the number we had thrown around.
Bathtub measurement to be standard.
We calculated it at one point. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, though.
Yeah, it's crazy fast, but we will have to do the math again
No. I mean, Alex, if we're going to use American units here, we need to extrapolate how much heavy oil the Union Pacific Big Boy 4014 carries, right? And then we need to use that as a unit of measurement, and then we can derive flow rate from Big Boy tenders per minute. It makes sense.
It makes sense, sure. Yeah, totally. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Also, shout out for 4014. Best locomotive ever.
Should be getting close to LOX frost, methane frost soon here. LOX frost is getting higher and higher. Why does it feel a little slower? It feels slower. Maybe it's just me.
From what I see here, we've been about 20 minutes into this. A little bit over 20 minutes, actually.
2/3 of the way full. A little over half.
See, You're using fractions. It's American. I love it.
That's actually Egyptian, but sure.
No. We co-opted it. It's good. Don't worry about it.
You did like the British Museum, right? And
yeah.
The yoink.
Yeah.
Yoink. That's ours now.
Oh, I think I see some discoloration on the methane tank, so we may see frost really soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should be very soon with where the LOX level is. By the way, you can see new reinforcement there.
There is.
Right there. That's a horrible line, but you get the point.
It's okay.
I can't draw, but that kind of coincides where B18.3 crumpled in its first 10 tests, after its first 10 tests. So maybe that was an actual thing that they needed to be worried about. So yeah, it's on the windward side and it's a doubler right below the common dome. So right on the weld line.
I think
So-
we're about to see frost on the methane tank any second now. Yeah, in fact, it's starting to appear
There
on
it
the
is.
left-hand side there. Some condensation now.
You can see some of the clouds coming off.
Oh, do you
So
see
CH4 frost, that's a good sign.
Family Guy, Star Wars. Yeah, this is from the a reference for what you guys were talking about. Telstar86 saying, "Hey EJ, how does the big boy compare to the freight train inside his factory?" Excuse me, I just see Star Factories everywhere. I know you'll have one after downloading the game again.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
they're tempting you.
Yeah.
I heard a whole conversation yesterday.
How does it compare? Well, the Satisfactory locomotive is an electric locomotive, okay? The big boy is a 4884 articulated steam locomotive, okay? Totally different manner of operation, right?
I'm seeing some more support here. Plot 1984 saying, "How many football fields per moon landings does it take to fill a booster?" And $20 tip, tips that NASASpaceflight come from Austin Skirvin saying, "That's right, it goes in the testing hole. It's like this American mega broomstick."
It goes in the square hole.
Well,
Yeah.
Super heavy is circular, so the methane would
It's
go
true.
in a circle hole.
It's a circle hole in a square matrix, right? Because it's square, but then it's got like a circular hole in the middle. So
Gentlemen,
it's sort
do
of
I
like,
see-
I don't know.
Do I see frost on the methane tank there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's growing now.
All right.
We're like 10-15 minutes away at this rate. Last time we had methane frost at 9:32 a.m. and then they had, I think it was somewhere around there, and then you had around 9:46 is when the T0 was. So we're probably looking at another 10 to 15, maybe like 13 minutes. Or well, I guess a little bit less than that. It'd be about 11 minutes at this point, since it's already been frosty for about 2 minutes. So
while we get
it feels a
ready
little bit
for...
slower though. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
slower tanking, that's for sure.
While we get ready for the test, I think it's probably safe now to go with the big question, which a few people have been asking here. I'm going to show some of them. Steelers fan here talking about, what are your predictions for Flight 13, like how it goes and how Booster 20 and Ship 40 will do. And then Gabriel Plays also asking the same thing. What are your expectations? EJ, you go first because you got here more recently.
Okay. It's like I was saying yesterday when we were watching Booster 20 roll. I think that Flight 13 is just going to be a repeat of Flight 12. That's the safe way of saying it. And I think it'll go okay. Guys, I think it's important to understand the industrial effort that's being put forth to you on the screen. You know, there were some problems with Flight 12, particularly in the Raptor ignition department and leaking department, right? But, you know, considering the industrial scale that SpaceX is putting forth here, like I said, it's I don't think those problems are unsolvable or, you know, hard to figure out. They got a good deal of flight data on this thing at this point. I'm pretty sure if Flight 13 is a repeat of Flight 12, it'll go all right. The big asterisk would probably be here, like on that whole statement, would probably be hot staging, because that was a little bit of a funny last time on Flight 12. The booster didn't separate correctly, and it sloshed the propellants in the wrong direction, and then they tried to turn the motors on, and that makes rocket engines unhappy if you try to turn them on with no fuel. That makes them very unhappy. So, I mean, as long as they can get that hot staging down right and the booster flips in the right direction to allow for the proper what's called head pressure into the 33 engines for the boost back, I think we're going to be golden here. Now, that's the safe bet. The awesome bet is saying all that and then them trying to catch the booster. We did see them do chopstick tests the other day. But I don't know, man. I want to be the cool one and say like, oh yeah, they're gonna catch it, but it's probably not gonna happen. They'll probably do a soft landing. You don't want to risk that pad. You don't want to risk the pad that the booster's on right now. That's the only operational pad right now. I mean, that's gonna be different in the future. There's obviously pad 1 behind it, the other tower that you can see between the booster and the tower.
This pad and that pad.
This pad and that pad. Well, 39A is the other pad.
What about 37A and 37B?
That's the other pads.
The other and the other pads?
The other
launch pad. Baby, it's what's for launching.
It's like great father or whatever.
Yep,
like,
exactly.
Whatever.
So, yeah, my expectations are that, if that flip goes correctly, I think it'll be just fine. The problems from Flight 12 were not hard, not seemingly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what happened. I can fix this. No, SpaceX is what, 22,000 strong at this point. They'll figure it out. Like, it's a big company. There's a lot of minds looking at, a lot of really, really smart minds looking at these problems and fixing them. So I think it'll be all right. I want to see a catch just because I want Starship to catch stuff because it's really cool when that happens. I was down there covering Flight 7 and Flight 8 for NSF, and I've seen that Super Heavy come back and land, and it is a treat. It is a treat. It's going to be a long time before that gets old. Let me put it that way.
All right. Ryan, before you answer this one in particular, I'm really curious. Why are we seeing so much like condensation coming out from the bottom of the booster and out the trench? I'm curious about that. You have any ideas?
I just think there's no wind. Look at the cloud there. I just think there's literally no wind right now. All the clouds are just falling to the ground and hugging to the ground. It's probably pretty humid out too, so it doesn't really help things either. So it's just any water that comes in contact with that cold exhaust just kind of freezes. It looks really cool. Not gonna lie,
like a Prince concert up in here.
Like, look at that.
I haven't seen that before. That is interesting. So we'll see what happens when they light the engines. If they're lighting the engines today, unless it's just an igniter test or something. But in terms of how the flight will go, I think it'll just be a repeat of Flight 12. Land the ship in the Indian Ocean, land the booster in the Gulf, prove that landing burn works, prove that any changes to the heat shield works, and whatnot, prove the ship can do this without any issues, move on to Flight 14, catch the booster, catch the ship, try to catch both if you can, so you can reuse that booster, and then prove you can catch ship, and that is the LOX drain line on the server structure going. So that should be end of LOX load here. So we're waiting on the stuff you see right down there. That's off the LOX bleed line. And then we're waiting for the methane one to go, which it is right now, actually. So both are going. So we're close to a T0 here.
We're close.
2 minutes.
Ryan, just for people that might not be prime, why are we dumping propellants before a static fire?
They are purging the lines, so there's no extra propellants inside the lines in the surface structure and whatnot. They actually dump out liquid oxygen and liquid methane. Don't worry, they can dump out liquid methane without any issues. They have like a it's like 7 tons per test they can do, which is a lot. And then like per year they have an allowance, which is nearly a full stack's worth of methane per year they can dump. Which just to say, it's not as bad as some other things that dump methane out. We'll just put it that way. So we're getting really close here to a possible test shortly. We'll wait to see for the DSS here. It's going to be the next indicator.
Yeah, the next thing will be that detonation suppression system coming up under the booster. Then the water deluge will start.
That's liquid methane, by the way. That's or gaseous, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's more than usual. It's a lot more than usual. We can't even see we can't even see the DSS or the deluge, so it's just gonna go at some point.
That might just be the wind, dude. It might be propagating in a way because of low wind, so it might look like it's more than normal. Because there's no wind down at Starbase.
Yeah, but right now we will not be able to tell whether we are close to a test or not.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's just gonna go.
Bad.
Okay, we can see a little bit more now. Oh, come on, let's go back. There. But yeah, waiting here any moment now, we should see the detonation suppression system, sort of spray of nitrogen and water under the mount. Then the water deluge will come up. Two different systems, even though they contain also nitrogen and water, I guess. But the nitrogen on the second one, it's more for pressurization rather than.
Oh, there's that vent.
That's the vent. That's the pressurization of the mount. So we should get detonation suppression system any moment now. You saw that little vent towards the left of the trench that was part of the depressurization of the launch mount systems. And is
Clearing
that
up right on time?
Let's see. There we go. That's the detonation suppression system.
Let's see what they do.
There's the deluge, and let's stand by for whatever test they do.
Like 15 seconds.
Kind of closer to 20, right?
For 20. Like I could.
That was dude, that is a powerful booster. Like
that was actually over 20 seconds long.
It was a 20-second static fire.
Dude.
It's the longest they've ever static fired a booster.
What a monster. Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
That pad took it. Wow.
Well, it went straight to a 3,300 static fire. There you go.
Yeah, straight to static fire. That was an awesome test.
I gotta count how long that was exactly.
Just as a reminder, guys, this booster pushes up with about 15 million pounds of force, or about 70 meganewtons. That's like twice the Saturn V. Just for what it's worth. And that thing is holding it down to the pad, which is that is a triumph of mechanical engineering holding that thing down.
And needs and like this time around
25 seconds. By the way.
25 seconds. Yeah, I thought it was something like it was definitely more than 20 because I was looking also at Starbase Live and I was looking at the clock and I was like, okay, this is more than 10, now more than 15, now more than 20. And then the static fire sort of ended, and I was like, okay, it's definitely more than 20. Boy, that was quite a thing. But yeah, in the case of this pad, or that pad, right, EJ?
Yep.
So in pad 2, they can actually hold down. What?
D-tank is underway, by the way. You can see the vents on the side, just saying. Yeah. Yeah,
that was quick, but rather expected. Given that they went straight away with they went straight into the 33-inch static fire test and for more than 20 seconds. But yeah, so I was saying they can also fully hold down the booster, so they can fire up the engines to full power. So I was full power for more than 20 seconds on that flame trench. Wow.
That's
And of course, we'll
that's
have many
impressive.
replays. By the way, we had many
You can
views
see
of
the
this.
thrust.
So
You can see the thrust changes too. You can see where they get to like full thrust and then it goes back down again as the flames kind of ebb and flow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. Three engine static fire for
No
Yeah,
more
it's the
clouds in the
longest-
way. That's for sure.
Yeah, the clouds are all gone.
Just
I wonder
blew
why.
them away.
I wonder why.
In fact, you can see it like there's this view that we have right now, and I'm looking back on Starbase Live. You can probably use it yourself if you want to as your own sort of replay sort of thing. We'll have clear replays coming up. Don't worry. And we'll go through them and we'll annoy Jay, the producer, and say, oh, rewind and go back.
Yep.
But I'm doing that myself on Starbase Live, and it's got a shot of like the clouds just blowing away. So yeah. Yeah, you can open it like in another tab or something like that if you want to look at that. While we wait for the replays. Again, we'll have the clear views in a moment.
Every time this thing is fired in here, it always reminds me of the liftoff of Saturn V. It always does.
Yeah,
Yep.
right?
With the way
Flames
it's
shooting
the
outside.
exhaust splits. I'm so glad this is the design they went with for the pad. EJ, can you just imagine this happening multiple times a week over at KSC?
I will invite that. I always tell people over on my end on the stream, Ryan, that if NSF, us, all the other spaceflight streaming services, Avid, whomever, if we just all turn into plane watching streams, but for rockets, I will be cool with that. That will be fine.
Yep.
With.
Fine with that.
Yep. No, I'm fine with that.
Now I want Blue Origin to make a split flame trench now with 9x4. I want that now. Come on, right?
So people
I
saying,
mean,
can we get this again? And I agree. I want this again, please.
Like, the thing about it is, but like considering the con ops they're doing with 9x4, a split flame trench makes sense, right? Right?
I mean, SLS has a single deflector, and that's pushing 8.8 million pounds of thrust. Like, I don't know. Let me do some math real quick.
I just want it because it looks cooler with split flame trench. That's all.
You wouldn't need bidirectional. You could get away with a single deflector with 9x4.
You could, but I only want it because it looks cool. That's all.
No, you'll get no argument from me. No, NCC SLS does not have a split trench anymore. It deflects all out one side. Yeah, it's a single deflector going in one direction.
Shuttle did a split because it split the exhaust of the SRBs and the RS-25s.
Yeah, the shuttle engines would go on one side of the
offset.
deflector. Yeah, and the SRBs would go on the other side of the deflector. The reason why they did that, obviously because you got rocket engines on one side and SRBs on the other, other than the obvious thing is to, if you shot that all into one trench, right, you would get very heavy trench degradation very quickly. I mean, 9A and 39B trench walls are basically clay. They're basically bricks. It's clay bricks, and the deflectors at the time were, I believe, they're metal with concrete in them, and they would need to be refurbished. So if you split with the shuttle, they split it to lower the pad refurb times. Replays are coming, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I was gonna say also at LC39A they also closed off the back of the split trench
exactly.
as well. Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy only used the north end of that.
And yes, Chad, metal with concrete. Yeah, the deflectors that were in there during the shuttle program are basically a big metal tray with a huge concrete slab on them. and the concrete acts as an ablator. Yes, you heard that right. It's an ablator. It uses concrete as a heat shield. They have to be refurbished. Source, I've stood next to one. Don't ask how or when. Don't worry about that. You don't need to know about that part.
Like, this was, so before this static fire, the longest booster super heavy static fire before this was booster 7 for 20 seconds when it did a single engine. That was before they even had a deluge plate. And this was 33 for like 24 seconds. And at one point it was at full thrust too. They could never ever hit that with the old pad. That deluge plate could not, or should I say those clamps really couldn't take a full thrust static fire. These can, because of the newer, much better design. But yeah, it's nuts. I did not expect them to do that. If we did a static fire today, which, well, they did, I expected 10 seconds, maybe 12, not 20 plus. Like, what?
And 20 seconds covers a really good amount of the initial part of the flight, right? Because 20 seconds is what? It's already like a couple of kilometers up or something like that. Maybe not a couple.
Which is hilarious when you think about it because of how quick this thing goes.
Okay, now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna look it up. How far up the stack is after 20 seconds.
I got you, dude. I'm looking it up now.
We're all looking it up. But yeah, I mean, it covers a great deal of the start of the flight, which is nice. Let's see. Looking here, it's close to a kilometer up, about 300 kilometers per second in speed.
I was gonna say, dude, like this thing gets off the pad with 1.4 thrust to weight ratio. Like it's gonna get up there pretty quick. It just, you don't really see it because the scale of the vehicle, it looks like it's going slow. It's not going slow. We got replays coming in, dudes. Don't worry. That was a long static fire, so it's going to take a second to get all the replays compiled.
It was.
that was a lot longer than what we usually see. We'll get the replays for you in a moment.
Let's take a look. So yeah, we have a bunch of support here, questions piling up. I have a very long list here from before, plus many others that people are also throwing into the queue. And they're good questions. I mean, that's why I keep selecting them, because they're good. Let's see. Let's go first with a support, and then I'll hit the questions. How about that? Let's clear support then. Telstar86 saying, nothing will beat EJ's reaction to the first catch. That's true. I saw that one. That was hilarious.
Dude, on Flight 7, me and Gene were up there on the Margaritaville Hotel roof with Dawson. I was like speechless because it was such a clear day that day. I saw the thing go all the way up to hot staging and come all the way back down, right? And it was one of the few times where you could just see it plainly. Like, usually you need like a camera or some kind of optic. Like, I tracked the whole thing, and I was dumbstruck the entire time until it landed, and then the sonic booms hit, and I was just like, wait, what just happened? Oh my goodness. And then, I was like, I snapped back too. I'm like, oh yes, I'm commentating on a webcast here. Probably should do that.
Yeah, I remember being part of the NSF crew for that one. It was Adrian, Das, and me. Das was out there. I think he was
tracking
at
right
the
next
hotel.
to him.
Yeah. Wait, you were out there for Flight 5?
No, for 7. Sorry. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, the first catch was weird because it was like, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. And we're like, well, now the engines should ignite, and then the engines ignite, and I forgot there's a sonic boom. And so the first thing that we heard was boom, boom, boom. And Adrian was talking at the same time saying, oh, the engines, and then that was hilarious. But yeah. And then also, like, we were all so excited when it landed that the only thing that I could say was like, it landed on the first try.
dude.
Yeah,
You know,
I just lost my mind.
If we're talking Flight 5 reaction, I wasn't there for that one, but I covered it on stream, and I have a noise compressor on my mic, so it blanks out like loud noises, and that, you know what? That's probably for the better because I said some very inappropriate words out of exclamation. I'm like, oh my gosh, that they caught that melon farmer, you know. Holy poop, you know. It was bad.
But yeah, that was mind-blowing. Let's see. I'm gonna try and pronounce this name, Niegbergbor. Maybe that works. As the hurricane season is coming up, will they transition to morning launches in Pacific rather than Indian Ocean landings? That will finally be better viewing fun for Europe. I'm gonna tell you, as a person that is currently in Europe, and I've kind of been all my life here in Europe, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know about earlier lunch times, because man, when the launches were at 7 a.m. Central, we do a long coverage, so that still meant waking up at 5 a.m. my time for the start of those streams. At the very least now, like with the afternoon launches, I can just, wake up at 2 p.m. and I'm fine. I'm still on time. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that they'll have to adapt to that? We've seen that with Starlinks at the Cape, right? That they do different trajectories depending on the seasons and things like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I have a spicy opinion about this.
Oh, go ahead.
It's not flame trash,
spicy.
but Slick 6 at Vandenberg, I think SpaceX is going to tool that up for Starship. But that's based off of wild speculation and no concrete evidence. So it's just EJ being EJ. Just leave me alone. All right, I want to believe.
My evidence. They've already scaled down a bunch of Falcon 9 ops. Why would you build another Falcon 9 Falcon Heavy pad? Why? For what reason? At this point, why? Now, granted, they have to do a lot of environmental stuff in order to modify the EIS they had. They might need to do. California and the FAA, especially California itself, would probably force them to do another EIS, which, whatever, but you're already building 5 pads for Starship. You've got 1 here plus another 4 that are in process. But, why would you not make that for Starship and do polar launches and SSO?
Yeah.
Because Louisiana, look how far, how far along that is going to be? That's a long ways away.
Years, at least.
Yeah. Probably not till next decade, at least.
So, you know what is not at least a decade away? Replays. They're here already. We've got replays. Let's go through those. This camera view. This one has audio, by the way.
Dude, that is violent. That's violent.
Can we run it again, but like without the current audio? Because I feel like some of the current audio was fed through this. You know what I mean, right? And I was hearing venting noises through the static fire. Was that just me?
The one cool thing is it ran for so long that at the end the clouds go away and you can see the fire out of the trench.
Yeah, that happens when the steam. So they're spraying water down into the flame trench, guys.
Hang on, EJ. Right? Let's listen in.
What a
Good
monster.
Lord.
Yeah, that thing is violent. Like that's yeah. And as I was saying, like the water that they spray in there can only absorb so much heat, so it turns clear when it's kind of absorbed. You can't more heat. You can see down into the trench there. That's wild, dude.
It's hilarious to see
Does
from
have
this point
audio?
of view.
I think no.
To see basically the Whoops.
Man.
We need a self-righting mechanism for these cameras.
Just seeing, oh man, it's still one of the best shots when you see it from the side like that.
Wow.
See what I mean? You can see the flames right there, and then the
Bottle
steam
down.
is turning. Steam is turning different colors, right? That's when it absorbs all the heat. It's heat saturation of heat. Well, the water is just
some
like,
people
I can't
were
absorb anymore.
Yeah, some people were confused. Like, somebody was asking why the deluge system pressure was cut in half. I don't think it was cut in half. It's just that it vaporizes, right? And so you no longer see the water. It's just the flames coming out, basically, right?
That's
but still there.
Guys, like, you know, I know a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, oh, well, it's absorbing, the water's absorbing all the heat. Isn't that bad for it? No, that means they're delivering the perfect amount of water. Like, if we could see
the whole
flames
point
crisp, right? That means it's the right amount.
Yeah, the whole point is to dissipate it as much as possible and protect everything that's inside, which is what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see.
You want the water as your heat sink. That's where where they dump all the heat from the flames. Oh, here we go.
Low exposure. Ooh.
Oh.
Wow. But yeah, that's one of the things that probably not a lot of people are aware, that gaseous water is transparent. It's just
steam.
You know, you cannot see it. Basically, you can feel it if it touches you very vividly. You can feel it. So the white that you see is when it turns into the vapor and like the little liquid droplets. But that happens once the gas is, so like it turns into a gas, it expands and it sort of travels outwards, and then it turns into that vapor that you see there, into that cloud,
which is
as
NOx,
it cools down,
basically.
Hmm?
Pretty sure a lot of that is NOx, nitrous oxide.
Well, yeah, part of that is also like nitrogen, as well, being mixed with like nitrous oxides, basically. But yeah,
go baby go button. Hit the NAS. No, all right, cool. Never mind.
This is just kind of like it's a big cloud, right in the way. It's kind of like,
just, I mean, if you look at the propagation of how the steam moves around, like it's moving around real quick and then it stops, and there's a lot of ebb and flows to it. I'd be very interested to seeing some like flow analysis on you know, saturated steam propagation at very high speed coming out of the trench, because just all the flow phenomena that you see going on right there is very pretty to look at, but it's just wild. Like it's violent. It's just changing directions left and right. That's violent is what's coming to my mind. Sorry, there was a lot of big words there. Apologize about that one. Might be too early for that.
I always love just the shockwaves ripping apart the clouds.
Yeah.
It just rips it to pieces. It's just the amount of sound that comes off of this thing is nuts.
Yeah, what Ryan's talking about is the turbulent flow that's propagating through the steam. That's the other thing. Like, this thing is so ridiculously loud that the pressure waves given off from the frequency of sound is enough to condense vapor in the atmosphere. That's why you see the pressure waves coming off of the booster. Like, you can see it just on the outside of the flames in that shot. It's so loud you can see it. You can see the sound, which is that's loud. That's really loud.
Did you see it creating two like mushroom clouds off to the side?
I mean, I always like to tell, we have this like way zoomed out shot. I always like to tell people that tower is 525 feet tall. It's just a little over 150 meters. It's not a small structure. It's like a 52-story building. Look at the clouds compared to it. The clouds go off the screen. That's how much kick this thing has. It is like, I keep saying awesome, but I mean that in the literal sense of the word. Like, it is awe-inspiring. That is a lot of power.
The one from the highway lot. That's so cool.
Man, look, see how the clouds appear to be rattling? That's what I'm talking about. That is an incomprehensible amount of power. Like, I mean, Alex, we know it's 15 million pounds of thrust, or about like 72 meganewtons, right? Like, we know, but like, you see that and you're like, huh? Oh, that's what that looks like. Oh, okay. That's violent. Wow. Man.
You can see the ripples there.
Right? So, fellas, I know someone's going to ask in chat, but I'll just be the one to ask it. And forgive me, Alex, I know you're hosting this, but launch expectations now? When do you think? You think they're going to do it next week?
I actually had a question about that.
See?
Let me see.
I know you, chat.
Yeah, I had seen it. I don't remember where I put it in the long list. Like, now that we have seen the static fire, what's our sort of thinking of when this is going to happen? And is it realistic to expect a launch next week?
I mean, that's to answer my own question, but you asked the question back to me. So I'm going to say yes. Yeah. That static fire looked great. I mean, I'd say check the pad.
Uno reverse.
Yeah, Uno reverse card. I'd say check the pad. Make sure that the deluge system held up and you didn't make a steaming pile of metal down in the trench. And yeah, bring the booster back, because Ryan, you were saying they need to unplug some sensors.
They might need to roll it back for that. We'll see. They might be able to do some of the stuff at the pad. We don't know, and I'll say this, we don't know if it has FTS. We don't know if they need to roll it back for that stuff. The biggest, what we'll know is if they put a road closure delay up for rollback over the next few days, then yeah, it needs to roll back. But if a road closure delay does not show up for production, for pad to production, then booster's not moving anywhere. It'll get taken off the launch mount one way or the other, because they can't really do some of this. To disconnect those harnesses, they can't really do that on the pad. They got to do it on a transport stand. It's better access. Plus, they'll use that time to inspect the engines. They'll probably, of course, double check over the pad, make sure everything's good there. And then if it doesn't roll back, then they're just waiting on the ship to get its payload and roll out. And then they'll put once they're ready, once the booster and the pad are 100% ready, they'll put the booster back on the pad. They'll put the ship back. They'll roll out the ship, stack it, and my guess is at least a tanking test for full stack, if not a full wet dress, because of the changes that they've done. Granted, they didn't do a tanking test before this; they just went full bore. But I wonder if they did they checked out a bunch of the stuff on the tank farm before they went into prop load on this thing. I wonder if that's what they did. Rather than load prop, they did a bunch of checks, because I have not seen the tank farm run a lot since they've done all these changes. So I think they did those checkouts before they loaded prop this time around. That's might be the reason why we didn't see prop load as quick as we normally do. They need to check the ship side of stuff. They definitely changed things on the tower side, so they got to check that. So I'm expecting at least a tanking test for full stack, and it's only your second, block 3 stack, so why not do it? It's not like it takes that long to even do a partial tanking test. And then launch. So even if booster doesn't roll back, I don't think there's too many issues. Plus, there's still the question mark on does S40 have to go back out to Massey's because there is a closure tonight for production of Massey's. We don't know what that's for. That could be S40 because of possible engine change and needing to do an igniter test like 39 did. We don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, yeah, they could in theory make it next week, assuming everything else is perfect. I mean, still don't think it would be next week. I think it would be the week after they would hit it. Plus, there's also the thing of the mishap investigation isn't closed yet, and they don't have a safety exemption. That's still open. They cannot launch until that's done. So,
yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised if that actually came out today because it's Friday.
It wouldn't be shocking. Yeah.
But yeah, there's also the fact that we saw this already on the last flight, where venting from the chine there. That's the elusive venting there. But yeah, there's like already from previous flights where they've done quite a quick sort of back and forth. Like even if they needed to roll this back, I think they will still be on time for a launch next week. I'm not sure if it will be on Wednesday because it's currently supposedly on Wednesday. But there's still enough time, I think, that even if they had to roll it back, especially based on the things that we're seeing, the amount of work is maybe like a few hours, maybe a full day at all if they really need it. Like flight termination system, final checkouts or whatever, that sort of thing, plus removing the harnesses that we were talking about before. That is what, at most a day?
Yeah, I think next week it's very, very likely.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is nuts to say.
Yeah,
if something is different than that,
yeah.
My opinion is that. Can I go? Because
go.
you two already talked. My time.
All right, I'm timing you. Go.
But no, like my guess here is that I think they're in a good position to do a launch next week, and if it doesn't happen next week, then there's something else going on, right? Like maybe they need a little bit more time to check out things. Maybe ship 40 is not fully ready. Maybe, I don't know, like this sort of things. Or as Ryan was saying, maybe the paperwork side of things is not going on time. That's sort of all the things. But based on today's test, this 33 engine static fire test for more than 20 seconds, I think they are in a great position at the very least. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not putting all my money on Wednesday, but I think at the very least, maybe next week, even counting like maybe the weekend, if they wanted to, take one of those weekend closures that they have every now and then. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely gonna keep a close eye on these vehicles. But what are you gonna say, Ryan?
The quickest between a full 33 engine static fire and launch was actually last flight. It was 13 days. No, it was 15 days between the 33 engine static fire on the 7th and launch on the 22nd. And of course, they had an abort in there. The only other one that comes relatively close is B-15-2 when they did the post-flight 33 engine static fire on September 7th, and they launched on October 13th. Other than that, it's usually a month plus between 33 engine static fire and launch. Now, there are, of course, a lot of other circumstances like the ship not being ready or the pad has to get reconfigured again because the old pad had so many issues that there was a completely different configuration between like static fire and launches for some reasons and other issues, like having to take off the stabs on the top of the mount for launches and other things as well. There's that vent again. But like, it is kind of nuts that they are getting to the point where they're going to static fire the booster and launch maybe a week later, which is kind of like Falcon 9 when they used to do static fires more often on it, which they don't do as much anymore. They only do it for if the customer asks it or if they like change a bunch of engines or something, they only really do one, or sometimes for crude. is when they actually do a static fire of the Falcon 9, and then they'll launch a couple of days after the fact. So if they're already there with Block 3 of booster, it goes to show that they designed the thing right from the first time around. Same thing with the pad, and it's nice to see that turnaround. Because like with Block 3, they've been able to go from cryo to launch or static fire to launch pretty quickly so far with the first 4 vehicles they built for Block 3, which is good for the future. That's good. You take that time down, that's good. They just got to get their production rate up. So it's nice to see.
Let's see. We have a lot more support if we want to run through all of those.
Sure.
Wow, yeah. Okay, so a super chat here. 10 out of 10, guys. This time the switch of camera angles was perfect. Look, it was 20 seconds long, more than 20 seconds long. So there was plenty of time to switch cameras, not and not make it worse. Let's put it that way. Because look, I gotta talk, in defense of the producers. Because one of the problems is there are so many camera angles, and the problem is the situation changes as the static fire progresses. When you start, you want to see the flame trend. You want to see the engines actually igniting. Then it gets all clouded, so you switch to a wider view, right? But then the wider view might be a little bit behind, so you wait a little bit longer as it gets clouded or things like that. Like not all of the fits, all of the camera feeds are in sync. So you maybe have to wait like an extra couple of seconds to get the wide angle. Now you get the wide angle, it crashes, and then you gotta get another view. Like you get how hard this is, right? Like I understand. I'm not a producer, but I see the multi views that we have, all of the different feeds and everything, and I cannot imagine myself having to say, okay, I'm gonna select this one, and now this one. This one was 20 seconds, so it was probably a lot easier in that sense because there was a lot more choices there. More time to choose, I guess. But yeah, just in defense of our producers, I know we switch
more time to
angles
fill
and things like that. but it's true. I mean, if we were staying, for example, with the one that just looks at the trench, right? It's like, okay, now we only see the clouds. If we stay with the wide one, you're probably not going to see the trench in that case, and you're not really aware that there's water deluge and that kind of stuff. And like that's the sort of thing. So you change to what best works at the time, and what looks good and things like that. And I agree, it was not a switch, which again, thanks to the long static fire. Let's see. Stuart Perry asking, will they replace all of the hold-down clamps? This is another super chat, by the way. Again, I'm going through the support because they're still piling up. Do they need to replace them? I don't think so, right? They just keep them.
They haven't even replaced any of them. As far as I know, they have not replaced a single one of those clamps since they built the pad. They had to do that for the original pad because of how bad they were. It was a design that worked for what it was. Again, a lot of that pad. It was a booster test stand turned launch mount. That's what that pad was. It had a lot of problems with it. And pretty much all of them were solved with this new design. Trying to think of one that wasn't solved, really, because pretty much all of them were. So they don't really need to replay it. They're much more protected now. They close nicely. The clamp hoods protect them very well. And the deluge works very nicely in protecting the entire pad, including the top deck. So they don't really have an issue with those anymore. This pad should be a quick turnaround. The reason for all the work since the last flight is they're doing mods as they're learning. So as they learn, as they're going, they're doing modifications to the launch pad and everything like that. In fact, 39A already has a pretty decent modification to the deluge system. Each system now has an extra gas generator on it, so they have more power and more control over the water deluge. There's going to be changes needed to the trench at some point for this one. But a lot of the big changes for this pad probably will not go around until pad 1's back online. So they'll take this pad offline for retrofits, and then they'll bring it up to spec with what they've learned over a bunch of launches, and then they'll bring it back online. That's my guess is what they'll do, but like they don't really need to replace a lot of stuff right now. They designed it very nicely, and I think we can all agree it looks amazing.
I ain't trying to bring this up again, but it looks like a Forerunner structure, and that's all I'm going to say.
It kind of does. Now that you say that.
Or it's a Forerunner. It's Forerunner.
The blockiness view of it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm never going to bring that up again, ever.
Never? Now it's stuck in my head.
Oh, no. What did I just do?
Well, speaking of the launch mount, we have another here asking, why not make the OLM taller? Maybe double or triple the height? As always, love to streaming you guys. Well, thanks for the support. What do you guys think? Taller OLM?
Why?
I don't know. Maybe, you need like a stool kind of thing.
Why?
I mean,
that's my question.
Closer to the vacuum of space or more efficient? No, but I'm guessing it's because they think that taller means that, it all spreads out better.
Nah, you don't need that. Just need a good enough water deluge system, you're good to go, which is what they have. So,
I mean, yeah, you could simplify the pad by making the OLM deck higher if you really wanted to, but I think they made it okay. I've not done any static analysis on pad. That's much more Zach Golden's kind of ballpark, but I'm guessing it is as tall as it can be given the soil composition down in Texas. If you're really asking my honest opinion here, like once again, I've done no analysis here. This is just an opinion. Everybody has those, right? I think it's as tall as it can be. Before, like, if you made it bigger, right? If you made the OLM higher, you'd need a heavier structure to hold it up in the air. And the taller that structure is, the wider the footprint you're going to need because you need to disperse the load, right? This is why if you look at like some of the tallest skyscrapers in the world, like the Burj Dubai, it has a very wide base and it gets skinnier and skinnier as it goes higher and higher, right? That's a great example. Like you're spreading the load. You have to spread it wide. But in Dubai, you have pretty solid ground. You have terra firma there. Not so much in the Rio Grande Valley here. So if you made that thing taller, I'd be worried about it sinking into the ground. This thing is much more beefy and way heavier than the OLM was on pad 1 on this pad, right? Not that pad. That pad is the one you see on the screen, right? So my guess is that's as tall as they can make it before that thing sinks into the dang ground. Because you got to remember, it holds up Starship and Super Heavy fully fueled. That is a lot of load being put through that launch deck. That's a lot. Okay, Super Heavy is heavy. It's right in the name. Starship is also heavy. It's not in the name, but you get the idea.
We have a few references to what you were talking about. Can Halo series be a topic during the Flame Trench? Another super chat here.
Sure. Why not?
It needs to be like a very... I was going to say, it needs to be a very weird Flame Trench.
We'll go into the depths of what slip space travel is in the Shaw Fujikawa Translite engine. That's what we'll go into.
Yeah,
and why the Forerunners... the differences between the Forerunners, the Covenant, and the humans, and the differences in between their slip space technology, and why ones are more accurate than another, and how the Forerunners use slip space to hide entire solar systems or planets or other things, kind of like the Time Lords used other dimensions and dimensional engineering. We can do that.
Time Lord, this is Doctor Who's now all of a sudden?
I had to do that. I had to just kind of go down a rabbit hole for a second.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm the only one of these three people here commentating that hasn't played any of these games.
What?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's
I'm
bad.
I've been I've not been an Xbox kind of guy, so I don't know about Halo. I'm sorry.
What did you play?
PlayStation for a long time.
Okay,
until I. Oh, what? Well, I mean, boy, do I really need to go into this? Let's see.
You seem like a GTA
there's
guy.
I actually haven't played that much GTA. I have played, but not quite a lot. I was more into like racing games, Need for Speed, Midnight Club, that sort of
Burnout.
thing, you know. Burnout, I played. I don't remember. It was like a really old game when I was a kid. I think it was one of the Takedown games. But yeah, I mean, also like Assassin's Creed and the likes. I don't know, Call of Duty every now and then as well. That was the kind of thing that I used to play. Now I'm more like Juno, Kerbal Space Program. That sort of thing.
That tracks.
Yeah.
You gotta get.
I used to
see when that comes out.
Oh, Kittens. Yeah, that's another one that I should probably jump on. City Skylines. I also play that one.
Yeah,
No Man's Sky, Dead Space as well. I've also played.
Ooh, Dead Space.
Yeah. And also, not technically a game, but at some point I also played Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. It was technically a simulator, more techy, I guess, than less about building rockets and more about properly flying than KSP. But KSP was actually built upon the inspiration of it, so there you go.
Hey, EJ, if we ever have a mining ship, name it the Ishimura. Although, is that bad luck?
No, please, no.
I'm okay with this.
NSF Deep Halo lore streams, sign me up.
Let's just hope we don't find a marker. No. Let's not hope we find a marker anywhere here. You know,
Take him on a
we don't need that.
Run Pronto or Jigger Customs. See, I don't understand what any of that means. If you know, you know.
Warthog Run.
Yeah.
If you played Need for Speed, you'd appreciate the Warthog Run. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I used to. My God, Underground 2, Most Wanted, Carbon. Those were like my child Need for Speed games. That was a really, really old times.
Okay, guys. So just real quick, the booster has static fired. We're just watching them vent down.
Yeah.
Now, with all that,
in the losing our minds portion of the stream.
Now, Alex, with all that being said, what was your favorite car? This is important.
Yes.
Oh goodness. I don't remember, to be honest. It was a long time ago.
You won't remember your favorite car.
You know, there were types of cars like muscle cars, sports cars, and things like that. I was more of like speed kind of guy. I like the sports cars and things
muscle
like
cars
that.
go
like
fast.
Well, but in these games, they were more like, you know, brute force kind of cars, more like that. You know, it's a game. It doesn't need to be realistic.
Okay, so favorite muscle car, go.
Man.
Well, you had to have remembered one, just one of them.
The Mustang is
all right.
Is a really good one though.
Yeah.
There's a few others as well, but I was one of the ones that I really liked.
We can go with the OG, the Pontiac GTO.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I got a Mustang. Mustangs are cool. Those are fun.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Here, Ethereal Swordsman saying Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, I played RCT, dude. I love that game. Oh, all three of them. I mean, one and two are where it's at. That was all Chris Sawyer.
Like
good stuff.
I remember times where I would get into a roller coaster tycoon game and I would then look at and there were many games that did this to me, but you start a game, you look at the clock and you realize like 12 or like 18 plus hours has passed and you wonder where the time went because you're just sitting there building. Like a Hearts of Irons game will do that to me. Civ 5, 4, 5, 6, well more like Civ 4 and 5 are some of the OG Civs that I loved playing a lot. You get on a Mass Effect run, holy cow. You get on a Mass Effect game, you just go. You just don't even realize time. Time just is it's a hole. You just don't even realize it exists.
Hearts of Iron 4 is a great way to, time travel. I agree.
Right. Literally and figuratively, like
I make sure to not play Hearts on Fridays because then I will just not show up for Flame Trench. That's probably not a good idea.
No, he's not kidding.
Just one more turn, bro.
Yeah, one more, or just like let me get to August of 44. Let me do this invasion real quick. 4 hours later, where did the time go?
Oh, I was supposed to be.
It just turned into game chat.
Yep.
We're waiting for the booster to fully detank and depress. They're almost there, though. I think they're almost done detanking.
We have here another super chat saying, "Hey, EJ."
What's up, Zelio? How are you? Oh, that was $2 Canadian, bud. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh yeah. What you talking about?
From the Great White North, is it?
Yeah, sure. You can call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call them weird, but don't tell Zelio that. I'm just kidding.
Okay, you just
Canadians, eh?
got like 10 people mad or something like that. I don't know.
They know I'm kidding. I always rib people that I like.
If you don't, you're not friends. Let's
Correct.
be honest here. Let's be entirely honest here. I would love like a newer roller coaster tycoon game. Come on, or
Ethereal just said.
What?
Look at what Ethereal just said. That $10 super chat. Open RCT.
Yeah, here.
Modernizes 1 and 2. Oh, don't tell me that, Ethereal. Come on. Come on, man.
Now I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna lose like several days worth of my life. I don't know if it's losing it, but you know what I mean. Like one of the games I wish we had a more modern version of, but EA is useless, is Command and Conquer. I miss Command and Conquer so much.
Finally going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Yori. Yeah. Man, Red Alert 2 is so much fun.
Yeah, man.
Born West, I think, gifting a Red Team membership. Ethereal Sourceman, and even older super chat here. Well, at least we know it can static fire, and then some. Unlike New Glenn, apparently. 20 boosters, 20 seconds. Yeah, Ethereal Sourceman. Look, it didn't static fire in the rain, to be honest. The rain happened before the static fire, so
that is true.
Okay. If you want 3D RCT, Planet Coaster is also an option. Dodge Charger, enough said.
Nice.
We keep getting these super chats for this battle of games and cars and
hey, I like
and
Mopars.
things like that.
Age of Empires.
I have a Mopar in my garage. It's pretty sweet. It's rusty, but it's pretty sweet.
New podcast idea: the game trend.
Oh,
one thing, and we still need to do it. We don't know if we would be members only or anything. About it for like 2 years now. We need to do a stream where we just talk sci-fi. Like whether it's Star Trek, Stargate, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, Doctor Who, you name it. I could just keep going.
Getting a million satellites into orbit. Hourly launches in 3 years. We already talked sci-fi. Come on.
No, that's even more sci-fi because it's not like we got warp drive, hyperdrive, slip space, wormholes, laser weapons. It's not like there's the Shadow, the Vorlons,
That's what
the
you
Borg,
think.
the Q.
It's all.
If the
out
Borg
there.
are out there, I'm scared. Or if like the Flood are out there, I'm real scared.
I'd prefer the Borg over the Flood, to be honest.
I would prefer the Borg over the Flood. Yes, absolutely. 1,000,000,000% I'd prefer the Borg over the Flood.
Nobody wants that grave mine.
No, absolutely not. No. If there's ever a zombie apocalypse and someone tells me that like a bubble thing went up, attached tentacles to someone, and then they transformed into something else, I'm out of here. I'm leaving this planet. I'm out. I'm gone. Nope. The Halo CE level music just starts playing here. Dun, 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 dun. It's like nope.
Dude,
so
I played 3-4 Alex real quick. Spark at like 2 a.m. when I was 12. And
that was genius.
It scared the piss out of me. Like I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm scared.
Speaking of anyway, scary games, Silent Hill. I've played it. A few of the games, at the very least. Many years ago, but I played it. Going back to rockets. So, Flight 13 next week then? Yay, rollback?
I
maybe.
think so. Yeah.
I'll go with maybe.
Okay.
And I'm going to stick with that until we get more info on it. So.
Yeah, I was saying before that if they even were to need a rollback, I think they have time to still do a flight next week. Like we've seen them being able to roll this out and back quite quickly. So, and it doesn't look like they really need that much time on this booster to prepare for flight. And that's it with the support. Finally, cleared it out. So, questions while we wait for full detanking and road open, I guess. Well, if they open the road, because you never know. But
so they,
to be fair, what?
They just to recap, we fired already, right? They
we fired already. You can see in the ticker, like on the bottom, that red line that a lot of people don't look at. There's there that it's there. Trust me, it exists. You can see even like the time of when it happened. So if you want to scroll back, you can do that. Of course, you will no longer hear us. You will hear the static fire. So if you want to keep hearing us, maybe do that on another tab, like twice, like double the live stream. If you want to keep hearing us, if you don't, it's okay. We're probably boring at this point now. But hey, we're trying our best, okay? But in any case, if we have some more time, then we can hit more questions again. The list is long. So many people asking good questions, so I'm gonna do one of the more pertinent ones. Steven Gaming saying, does Flight 13 need to go perfectly? Like, we want it to go perfectly, but does it need to go perfectly? Or could there be another failure, but Artemis 3 will be fine? EJ, you go first.
I think they could handle 1 or 2 more failure flights, but look. So in spaceflight, there's something called concept of operations. Concept of operations is basically a plan for how you're going to do whatever you want to do with your rocket. In the case of SpaceX, they're ConOps for building the lander, which is HLS for the Artemis program. They need to have at least some minimum viable product for HLS done by next year. All right, so first of all, first and foremost, that entails being able to get up into orbit. Now, could Starship get to orbit? Yes, of course. Could Flight 12 have gotten to orbit? Well, yeah, absolutely. They're not going to orbit on purpose because they don't want to accidentally strand a Starship up in space in low Earth orbit if they can't relight the engines and do the deorbit burn, right? You don't want to strand anything up there. Unguided debris, especially one the size of Starship, it would be problematic, let's say. Right? So getting to orbit, you need to do that to do the Artemis 3 mission, and then we need some HLS prototypes. And, honestly, to plan for like a lunar landing in 2028, you need to do on-orbit refueling or on-orbit refilling, and then you need to demonstrate boil-off mitigation. So being able to get one of the Starship human landing system HLS landers out to the moon and then landing it on the moon. There's a lot of con ops that they need to do before 2028 to support that landing, and not as much to support the Artemis 3 mission, but still a lot, right? There's a lot of things that they have to do to prove out the system, right? And then on top of that, SpaceX has other what's called stakeholder expectations with Starship of deploying the Starlink satellites and the AI-1 sat bus that SpaceX is working on. So those are the data center AI satellites. I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Slop links. Yeah.
That's my name for them.
Yeah, no, that's good. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they need to get done. They could, I'd say, to keep on the timeline for Artemis 3, you might be able to handle 1 or 2 more failures. But honestly, with the Block 3 design, you see a much more refined version of Super Heavy and Starship than you've seen comparatively to the past, namely like in the propulsion departments, right? So yeah, it would be probably prudent to get that done right sooner rather than later. Could SpaceX tank another failure? Yeah, sure, probably. It'd probably be fine. But this thing has to get going. NASA paid them a good amount of money to get that thing, to have that thing ready by 2028, and that's what's driving your schedule with that. So it's better to get this thing up in space and have more good missions and not have an engine blow up on Super Heavy so it hits the water trying to land going Mach 1. We don't want that. That would be bad. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, it'd be cool to somebody, but not to us.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be a little bit sort of the odd one here and say they need Flight 13 to be perfect. They have a lot of plans. They have a lot of really big pie in the sky goals, if you will. And they really need to go perfect, because if it doesn't go perfect, especially the booster splashdown, if it is a splashdown, we don't know. We assume it is going to be a splashdown, to be fair. But if they really want to catch a booster as soon as possible, they really need to go perfect. And if they really want to start going to orbit with the ship and deploy payloads as soon as possible, they need to go perfect. Like, yes, there could be more failures, but then all of the timelines slip quite a bit. We're at the point where every single flight that does not go perfectly, we're starting to get into ish. There's not even like a proper word. It's just sounds to define what would you feel if things started to go wrong. Like the first flight of version 3 went well. There were things that failed, but those are to be expected. First flight, especially with the return of the booster, very experimental in that sense. New booster way of coming back down with 3 grid fins and the 33 engine boost back burn and all that stuff. Like, you kind of expect things to go wrong there, but if you really have these big high goals, and like they were saying, One Shotwell was saying, we're going to orbit on flight 14, then flight 15 out of Florida, we're ramping up to monthly flights. You need to start getting these flights perfectly. You need to start getting on the point that, you remember back on the end of version 1 where, we had flight 5 on October 13th, and then we had flight 6, I think it was November 18th, if I'm not mistaken. It was basically like 37 days afterward, like less than 40 days, basically. And so they need to get to that point. Flight 5 was perfect. They did a full flight, booster caught, ship splashed down, right where it needed to be, survived through everything. Then they went to an afternoon launch on flight 6. They were able to do a daylight reentry with the ship. They did not catch the booster, but it was the tower's fault, right? And they already had, ticked off that milestone from the long list of milestones that they wanted to tick off. They did a relight test as well, which was successful on Flight 6. These are all the things that they need to replicate again with version 3, and they need to do it fast. And so Flight 13, in my opinion, needs to go perfectly. We'll see.
You guys basically put a bunch of points, but I kind of agree with Alex. They can't afford a failure of any kind. Ship needs to go perfect, booster needs to go perfect, then they can do orbit on 14. They, with their own timelines and timelines to meet NASA, they cannot have a failure, because if they have a failure and it's one that requires a mishap investigation, that also increases the amount of time until the next flight if they take too long to figure out what went wrong.
Can I address one thing? Because I'm seeing the chat going wild. Yes, new video on the SpaceX website. It's actually not a video. Right now, it's actually a thumbnail. So we hear you. We see you. Let's wait until the full video is up, because if you even click download, it kicks you back to the main page. I think SpaceX is just setting it up. When it's fully set up, we'll hit that. Continue, Ryan. Just wanted to address that.
There's something that's going to be able to be hit during TFT if that releases before then. There you go.
Yeah.
So, and it's called Critical Path, apparently. But anyways, they need this to go right. They absolutely need it to. They can't really afford failures these days. If they get their launch cadence up, then they can probably take a failure more often. But also, like, you don't have the vehicles. I mean, I was saying that the production rate is increasing, but you can't really afford to lose this booster or ship in a bad way where you miss out on completing mission objectives, especially critical ones like reentry, or say you lose it on ascent, or you lose anything on ascent. That's probably worst case scenario, is they lose either on ascent, because, well, if they lose the booster on ascent, they lose the whole stack. And if they lose the ship on ascent, well, even if booster completes its full splashdown, they can still catch the booster next flight, but that means that bringing the ship back and going to orbit is still off the table for next flight. If you lose the ship or it's uncontrollable in coast, you're not going to orbit next flight. That's not happening. The FAA is not going to sign that off. Absolutely not. So that needs to go perfect. Basically, everything needs to go perfect.
I'd like to point out, guys, that, Alex and Ryan are saying everything needs to go perfect. I think that it's important to paraphrase that. And gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong. It's important to paraphrase that with everything needs to go perfect if they want to keep the timeline, right? Like, it's not like, if this flight doesn't go well, which I think it'll be fine. But if it doesn't go well, it's not like SpaceX is hosed. It's just you're not going to keep the timeline very well. We have an order to go back to the moon by 2028. Any failure from here on out, it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, every failure from here on out makes that goal more and more distant.
I mean, it's also what I said about the problem is right now, like, look, if one engine goes out during boost back burn, that's technically a failure, but it's like a subset of the bigger failure, right? Like, it also depends on what kind of perfect like, there are degrees of perfection. Let's put it that way, right? Like, that's Flight 13 need to go like 100% perfect. I think if one engine goes out during ascent, or like on the boost back burn or something like that, it's still fine. We've seen that on previous flights. The booster does fine with that. It's got 33 engines, 1 or 2 engines out here and there. It's not a big deal. As long as it can do the splashdown, I'm fine with that. And of course, on target. Like soft splashdown or whatever kind of, because, we don't know if they're actually like, shutting down the engines at a high altitude or something like that, like they've done for previous boosters. But the point that I'm trying to make here, as long as it does the big milestones of like, doing ascent, leaving the ship in the correct path, then returning back, going through re-entry, doing that 33 engine boost back burn and things like that. Like if it hits all of the milestones, even if it's got like an engine out or something like that, I think that's still good to go. The point is, what kind of unperfection will they be good with to proceed to the next milestone, right? Like, do they go to an orbit if the ship doesn't do a relight on this next flight again? Because they didn't do that on flight 12. That's the kind of question that I personally have, and that SpaceX needs to sort of convey maybe in the future a little bit better when it comes to flight goals. Because if Gwynne Shotwell goes out there and says, oh yeah, flight 13 will be another suborbital one, we need to fix the things from flight 12, but it's like, how much deep does that need to go, right? How many imperfections can you allow still before you go to flight 14 and you say, now we go to orbit, now we deploy Starlinks, now we do this, and we continue down that road? That's the sort of questions that I have. But again, much more debate probably coming up later on the Flame Trench.
Yeah, it would be nice if SpaceX told us what their expectations for the mission are. I mean, they usually do. They actually, Dan Hewitt over there usually communicates it pretty well, but it's during the cast, right? So we don't really know until they talk to Dan. Dan does an amazing job over there. We love Dan.
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was part of this series of videos as well. Still not loading that new video. We'll wait.
It's
until
probably in the
fully
process
up.
of being uploaded, and then they probably have a set release time, and we don't know what that release time is. It could be 5 p.m. like it was last time, because it dropped right in the middle of the Flame Trench. We'll have to wait and see, but we do know there is one coming. It'll drop when it drops, so yeah, just be patient.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I got here a tip from tips.nasaspaceflight.com from Mike Frank with a $10 tip here. As someone who works at Halo Studios, I greatly appreciate the Halo talk today. Okay, that's
you work at
impressive.
Halo? Hey. I have ideas. I had to.
I mean, Mike, for what it's worth, dude, when I was growing up, back in the Stone Age, so 25 years ago, I know I got UNC status nowadays, right? Which is cool. I got that going for me, which is nice. Dudes, there were kids that had pictures of, Michael Jordan on their wall, or, the picture of a Lamborghini Countach, which is cool, I will say. I had a poster of Master Chief and Neil Armstrong.
Same.
And
well,
Gordon
not Neil
Freeman.
Armstrong, but I had Master Chief, but yeah.
I had Master Chief, Neil Armstrong, and Gordon Freeman. So, take that for what it's worth, dude.
Gordon Freeman.
I'm going to say, if there's anybody out there working on all the studios, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If you hear any suggestions, please. Like, I don't know, if there's any Rockstar executive or something like that, while you get out of your jacuzzi
when GTA
and your golden parachute, please redo again the Midnight Club series, please. Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
You know what? I want Halo Wars 3, but more like Halo Wars 1 than Halo Wars 2. Please and thank you. That's what I want. Halo strategy game. It was a lot of fun. I want more of it.
Anyway.
I put so many hours into Halo Wars 1. Holy cow.
As somebody that's worked gaming industry adjacent, I don't need anything, Mike. We're good. I trust whatever you do will be fine.
I'm sorry, but I need Halo Wars.
Saying NASA game
that's
flight.
my only request. The only request I have. Halo Wars.
All right, back to rockets for a little bit here. Tower Sky asking, does going straight to a static fire mean confidence in the system or a time schedule they are trying to keep to? Like, is this that they're trying to rush? Or is it that Super Heavy is just getting this good now? EJ, you go first.
I think it shows confidence in the system. It's like what we were talking about Block 3 is the Block 3 Super Heavy and Starship is a much more refined design. Here's the thing, guys, with rapid iteration, right, which is what SpaceX does. We've seen on the first 12 flights a lot of ups and downs and explosions too. Those are fun for someone, not for us as spaceflight fans. But the thing about iteration is that as you get more closer to, I'm not going to say minimum viable product here, but as you get closer to what you're trying to do, so this is a fully rapidly reusable system, the rate of iteration is going to go down, and you will slowly, well, in SpaceX's case, not slowly, this is really software development in a nutshell. Like, you'll slowly just make, hopefully, right? People don't change the stakeholder expectations. Sorry, getting too real there. The rate of iteration will go down, and you'll just make small tweaks here and there. That's why on Flight 12, guys, that was, for Super Heavy, that was more or less a brand new design. The rate of it, they made a huge leap in iteration here, right, with the Block 3 designs. And from here going forward, right, the rate of iteration is going to go down. So as the rate of iteration goes down, you're going to see them have more confidence in the design. So like what you saw just here, October, like they didn't go to a static fire. They didn't go to igniter test first. They put this thing on the pad last night and static fired it today. No igniter test. They have confidence in that design. They didn't change anything. It works. And as you freeze more and more components, right, your rate of iteration will go down, and you basically come up with a baseline. Like a good example would be Falcon 9. Falcon 9 Block 5 is the baseline for all future Falcon 9 designs when it came out. First Block 5 launch was Bangabundu in 2018, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, May 2018.
Yeah. And they've been making Block 5 since. Now, does that mean that the Block 5 Falcon 9 that flew the Bangabundu mission is the same as the Block 5 that rolled off, like, what is it, Booster 100, that rolled off the assembly line very recently? No, it has changes. Like, we know there are small changes. We know that 1058, the worm logo booster, didn't have a self-leveling system built in, and that's what caused it to tip over. And SpaceX, I think it was Kiko, said that newer versions of Falcon 9 have a self-leveling system that prevents them.
Depress Vent that I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think so. So the rate of iteration goes down as the design becomes more standardized. So yeah, with that standardization and with that rate of iteration going down, you're going to see more confidence in the design. Abso-freaking-lutely. Anyway, yeah,
it's the start of Depress Vent.
Yep.
They should be close to that depress vent. They usually takes about an hour and a half to detank. No, that's where about they're at. A little bit less, but yeah. Because they detank through gravity. There's no pumps that like pull the prop from the tanks or anything like that. That's not a thing. So.
Yep, get in there. Yeah, I'm seeing some more questions here. Especially related to what we were talking about before regarding like catch or no catch. Six String Simpleton saying, if no catch for Flight 13, do we think they'll at least do a catch simulation during splashdown like Flight 4? Like, activating the deluge and then, doing the chopstick simulation? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
That was loud.
Yes, I think that they might do one. Why not?
Yeah, we've seen them testing the chopsticks and running the deluge as if it was like a catch, right? Like it's something that we've seen them test already without the booster doing the thing. So it wouldn't be surprising if they were to try that.
I mean, Alex, like I said, that's the safe answer, that they're going to do a simulated catch, right? They're going to land the booster out in the water, but the catch arms are going to, think that the booster's there, and the landing deluge is going to, that's loud, it's going to go. That's most likely what's going to happen, but it'd be a lot cooler if they caught it, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprising, look, I also can put my, I sometimes try to raise the pessimistic side, or even the realistic side of my brain, and try to think in SpaceX terms and say, okay, I can see the point of, sure, Booster 20 does a perfect flight during ascent and during landing, and it splashes down, and you're like, oh well, we could have caught that. Right? I can see SpaceX being in the position of man, but if it does well, why not, try it? Right? And I can get it. I think they're still gonna go the safe route and go with a splashdown, but I can see the point of saying, well, we could have caught that. Sort of Booster 11 when it did, but that was the very first time they did a soft splashdown. So
I don't look at it that way, and I wouldn't look at it that way if I were SpaceX. I personally wouldn't look at it that way, anyways. Because this is still a brand new booster design. You've only flown it once. The grid fin layout has changed. The grid fins themselves have changed. The booster entirely itself has changed. New propellant distribution system. You're now using a LOX landing tank plus the larger transfer tube. There are so many differences that you need to test that without risking your pad. And again, it's your only operational launch pad. 39A is not there yet. Everything else is still under construction. So you want to risk your only operational pad just to have a chance at catching a booster when the other one is finished and is likely ready for cryo within 2 weeks. I mean, I would not roll that dice. No, absolutely not. I would not roll that dice, take that chance. You cannot risk your new pad. Absolutely not.
Oh, I've been told cars going to the pad. Oh, car, singular, just one. Yeah, I said cars to the pad. It's just one.
Well,
maybe more than one now.
Another and more. Yeah, with that depress right there, that's pretty much it.
There's a couple of cars and a Cybertruck.
Yeah, rolling down his window, probably saying, "Hey, we're done here."
Oh boy, a Cybertruck.
Oh, look, a dumpster.
Oh, look,
there we go. Hey, look,
see.
At
There
the
are
very least...
some. Hey, EJ, there are real trucks around there, and then there's the dumpster.
Okay. A hot take regarding this as somebody that loves vehicles. Cybertruck is an SUV. It's not a truck, even though truck is in the name. It's an SUV by any stretch of the imagination. You should be comparing it to a Ford Bronco. Ford Bronco or a Jeep Wrangler. Not pickup truck, because that ain't no pickup truck.
At the very least, the beach is not being called Cyber Beach, because they were trying to some kind of group requested I think it was Cameron County or something. I don't know. They requested the beach to be renamed to Cyber Beach. Even the city of Starbase came out on X the other day, and they were like, "No, we're good with Boca Chica Beach. Let's keep it that way." And they like their stars, they could have called that thing Star Beach or something like that. And they said, "No, we're good. We're good with Boca Chica Beach."
They said no to a star name. It looks like road's going to be open once they move the transport stand here. But the fact that they're getting ready to move the transport stand goes to show that everything is safe and whatnot. They wouldn't move that if they were thinking of recycling and doing something more today. So,
yeah. It seems like they're getting out there to move that transport stand. I saw the guy with a high-vis jacket that normally goes. Yeah, and they're going around the transport stand.
It's got a nice wash. from the rain there. The booster got a nice car wash before it heads out for flight, so that too. At the car wash.
We don't want to get flagged.
Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yeah. The road is probably going to open any time now because they already went down the road. Given that they went straight to the 33 engine static fire, probably not going to do another test today. But
yeah, we'll have to see if there's a road delay for rollback or if booster is going to stay out there. We'll see.
Yeah.
It could go either way, in my mind.
Yeah, I saw some people sort of being a bit confused probably because there's a road delay for tonight, going from midnight to 4 a.m. tomorrow. But that is going from the production site to the Massey outpost. We don't know if it's a vehicle. We don't know if it's a test stand or some kind of, test tank maybe as well. Who knows? There could be many other things. Could be some tooling as well. That might be too big to, to necessitate this road delay there. We'll cover that, of course, on Starbase Live. You can see still the closure for today is still there, but again, as I was saying before, it's probably going to be opened soon. So, some housekeeping here, I guess, because we are wrapping up this show, as we always do, of course. You can keep watching all of this Starbase activity on Starbase Live. We know, and we have acknowledged before, that episode 2 of the Starship series is about to be out. Let's put it that way.
At some point.
It's sort of out, but it's just a thumbnail. It's not fully out there. You try to download it and it kicks you back to the...
Got a description too.
That's the... Yeah. There's a description down there as well. Yeah, if you were to download that, you click that and it sort of kicks you back to the main...
Yep.
There you go, to the main page. So it's still not fully up, but we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll definitely watch that ourselves. We have a Flame Trench show tonight, which I'm sure EJ and Ryan here will be on as well. I'm not sure I'm going to be on that one, but EJ and Ryan will be out there. And they're definitely going to be talking all about that video. Don't worry. EJ, thanks for being here. It's been a real pleasure, and as always, really helpful to have more voice.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege being on here. It's fun to watch. Fun to watch the static fire with you guys and with chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. I stream over on Twitch.
Yeah, you're the Twitch guy.
We were taught. Yeah, I'm your moon-based Twitch guy. All right. No. We were talking about all these games. Yeah, right.
/EJ_SA, right?
We're talking about all these games. You want to see the games get played. That's what I do over there. And then we also do talk about space as well. But yeah, thank you for having me, Alex.
Yeah, and Ryan, also, thanks for being here with me. You were
Pleasure as
actually
always.
here before I was here, but yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to Chris for holding down the fort before Alex got here.
Yep.
I'll just kind of say that. Yeah, it's a pleasure as always, and I'll probably see you all in what
Are those
4.5 hours?
Can I point out one thing real quick, Ryan? Are those the LOX cannons activating?
Yeah, I think they're still hooked up, but they're basically used to just vent off any excess. The way the system operates now is it runs through a pair of new tanks that they brought in. But yeah, I think they're only activating those for the final bit just to boil off whatever LOX is in the system. But otherwise, I think I'll see you all in like 4.5 hours or so.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully the episode drops before that. But just to remind everyone, the last episode dropped at 5 p.m. Central. So it's very likely this one does too, which means it's right in the middle of Flame Trench. So, it is what it is. But either way, we will cover it one way or the other when it does. So.
Yeah, and of course, thanks to Jay Kean as well for producing the show and pushing all the buttons, pulling all the levers, however many he has. And I've been Alex, the guy with a long name here at NSF, and we'll see you all again on the next one. And as always, you know the drill. We are approaching a Starship flight, so expect full-on coverage, all of the different things. We're going to have that flame trench tonight, probably some countdown to launch shows as well. So just, keep track of that by subscribing, liking, and, all the YouTube things. And we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.